boxing tickets to the Tyndall Armory every Thursday, March 16th through April 20th at 1075thefan.com. Thanks to our friends at Moondrops Distillery in Fortville.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
What in the hell do you think you are doing?
Hey, John Boy.
I'm telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
Hey, everybody, we're all going to get laid.
And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard. A pick six for the Maniac. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. Yes, sir.
Oh, the Dickens. Double time.
Miles Turner. Yeah.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And here we are, everybody, and already a big upset. We'll get to that coming up in just a minute. Our location inside the garage, Bottleworks here. We're going to be here until 6 o'clock trying to usher you in to what has been so far, as it normally is, an outstanding beginning to the NCAA Tournament. I will say this. We were going to be set up originally outside, but obviously every time that I come here and do a show, as soon as I sit down, it starts to rain. So all the inside, I should say all the outside stuff has been moved inside. We are right here. We are just looking for you over the course of the next 3 hours. And, you know, I mentioned down in Orlando the upset so far. A lot of you had that. In a 13-4 matchup, again, down in Orlando in the South region on a three-pointer after a complete and utter ridiculous throwaway by Virginia on a three-pointer. Furman, with 2.2 remaining, gets the win, 68-67. That is a 13 over a 4, and the Cavaliers of Virginia are done. And that probably wrecks a number of brackets out there. Maybe some of you had that anyway. I know a lot of you did. But that is the first big upset of the day. Meantime, Maryland getting past West Virginia. That's the 8-9 game, and the South region in Birmingham a little bit earlier this afternoon. Julian Reese was really good. 17 points and 9 rebounds in that game for the Big Ten Terps. They're going to move on to round number 2. We'll get you set with the games that are just about set to get underway, and obviously you got a couple still ongoing right now. 16-49 in the second. Utah State is a 10 seed. 36-35 over Missouri, the 7 seed. And at the half, Kansas, 13-point advantage as the 1 seed. Again, coaching without, I think it's Norm Roberts on the bench today for Kansas, without Bill Self trying to come back from the stint that he took in that operation last week. Kansas 50-37 over Howard. That is a 1-16 matchup. Coming up at 3:25, the 12-5 matchup is Charleston and San Diego State. 3:15 for the 1v16, Alabama and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And in the 4 o'clock hour, 15-seed Princeton, 2-seed Arizona, 4:30, 8-9 games Arkansas and Illinois. We'll keep you updated on all those. Also, Colts news today, Parris Campbell, maybe a bit of a surprise. I will say this, I'm not surprised by any of it. Like, for me to come on here and say, hey, I was really surprised they did not decide to keep Parris Campbell. I'm not at all surprised they did not decide to keep Parris Campbell. I thought it would have been okay. I thought it would have been okay if they would have felt the need, because he was a wide receiver who stayed healthy all year, and this team certainly needs that. Taking them away, I don't think is really what people want to see with this particular team offensively at that position. Maybe some additions would be nice at some point. But again, surprised, not so much. Maybe some of you upset, probably not so much. maybe it's just one of those things where if you kept him, that's okay. If not, and he goes someplace else, that's okay too. So we'll talk about that coming up. Mike Chappell a little bit later on. Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilermakers, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to get check-ins from Columbus regarding Purdue taking the court coming up tomorrow. Jeff Rabjohns, Pigs.com from Albany, New York in the 4 o'clock hour. And as I mentioned, Mike Chappell coming up in the 4 o'clock hour too. But look, if you're watching on YouTube Live, a very familiar face sitting across from me right now. Mike Wells of ESPN Radio is here, and it's not without a session, a window of games in the NCAA Tournament where you don't get a game like Furman and Virginia where everybody jumps on board the team that is obviously the David v. Goliath type of deal here, even though Virginia is seemingly, and especially in this tournament, Mike, any team's right prime for an upset because everybody's pretty much even. That was an upset I think a lot of people picked.
Oh, yeah. You think about what Virginia did several years ago with UMBC or whatever. Yeah, I mean, Virginia had an early run upset. It's like, there's a possibility that they're going to tingle down their legs.
Yes.
And here was a prime example, even if it was some boneheaded play down the stretch. But
that was big-time boneheaded, too.
You can't bank on them to be a Final Four team. You just can't rely on them. And by the way, I know we were supposed to be outside today. Jay clearly did not look at the weather because he's out here. He's got his shorts on. It's like he came from the Southport gym, high school gym, putting up buckets today.
Here, man.
Got on his little JMV.
But I got the vest and I got the long sleeves just in case, though.
I'll give you that. I was kind of hoping the weather was going to be nice too. It was supposed to be in the 50s. Right. Sit out here and enjoy. I got to acknowledge. First time I've ever been to Bottleworks.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a fantastic place. For those of you like Mike that have never been here, we're in the hallway area, and we kind of like split the difference here. You got two sides. You know, one side, the other side with just incredibly different types of food for you here. Now, for my kids, Clancy's Hamburgers is always the go-to, but everything in this place is outstanding, and I guarantee you're going to find something that suits, something that is going to fit you. Plus, they have games going on where you can kind of sit down and watch, drink a beer, have a cocktail, do whatever, and watch all these games, not just today, but coming up tomorrow as well, inside the garage, Mike, at Bottleworks. Glad you're here for a first time.
Yes. In fact, I just texted your favorite member of the Wells household.
Yes.
And told Miss Layla, we'll be back down here next week for spring break. I said, I got to bring you guys down here. Her and little brother.
Stay over at Bottleworks tonight or something.
No, I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that now.
No?
I mean, are you? Can I get the JMV discount?
Yeah, you probably can. We'll get Ryan out here a little bit later on. He can tell you all about that JMV discount.
All right,
that's pretty deep.
Man,
true story.
I hope so. I mean, we got Iowa in the building. I mean, we got everyone wearing jerseys up in here, man.
Nah, it's nice. It's a great place to watch games. Great place to eat, hang out, and drink. You know, a lot of people out here are actually working and hanging out and drinking and eating too, working and watching games, whatever.
They're quote unquote on the clock.
Exactly, on the clock here today. I'll double back to the NCAA tournament, the games that are ongoing, those that are just about ready to get underway. And again, we'll get reports from both Columbus, Ohio, and Albany, New York, from Purdue and IU coming up a little bit later on in the show, along with Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. I mentioned that I'm no longer surprised about any move to where you think maybe there's a chance somebody comes back, returns to this team, or they go out and get somebody. They being Chris Ballard and company, kind of told everybody 2 days ago, right? When they traded Stephon Gilmore, this is where this is going right now. Like the Pacers came out, Mike, and I remember Rick Carlisle was on this show back in October, and he goes, hey, you know what? Have patience with this group because it's going to take a little bit, and we're going to lose some games. And then the Pacers caught fire and surprised people in December, and that was good. The Colts aren't going to come out and tell anybody that, but that's exactly what they're doing right now. Yeah. This is a reboot. They're just not going to tell you that, but that's exactly what it is.
I mean, the fact they traded Stephon Gilmore for a fifth-round pick, a guy who who I thought he had a strong season last year, and to add a draft pick, and they tell you they're slowly letting things fall apart, and then they're going to build it back up. Parris Campbell goes to the Giants. Bobby Okereke goes to the Giants. I mean, guys are leaving. You know, guys that they drafted. I know Gilmore's not a draft pick, but Parris Campbell, who had 63 catches, 3 touchdowns last year, showed that he could finally be healthy. You would think that you look at that wide receiver roster and you say, man, we need to keep Parris Campbell. Nope. We're going to go and let him walk, get his little 1-year deal with the Giants. You know, Okereke, you know, how do you say it?
Okereke.
Okay, I still call him Okereke. I'm going to say it wrong the entire show. But Okereke, he goes out. Linebackers, you have Shaq Leonard coming off a season where he was injured all the way. You would think you want to have a young guy that can still be in there and be in the middle of that middle linebacker spot. They let him walk. So it's the writing's on the wall without them publicly saying it.
That part, like I understand all of it, and not that I'm in favor with all of it. Okereke, fine. Parris Campbell, like there's not stats that jump off the page and go, hey, you know what, you got to keep this guy. But when you look at the roster and you know that you're going to get a rookie quarterback in here that's going to need some options, and this team is most of the time without options, or you have to build options, at the very least, he was an option, right? Mm-hmm. He was an option for a team that does not have a lot of it. So if somebody wanted to make an argument, Mike, in that direction, that would be valid. But as far as looking at the numbers and trying to match that up monetarily, and as I've said all along, from talking to Chris Ballard 2 weeks ago, this is going to be so much of the same philosophy of Chris Ballard. People ask if he's going to change. Mike, is he going to be different? Is he going to do things differently? There's not going to be very much different whatsoever, and I think we have seen that so far. And he's even got more. Like, it's almost like Jim Irsay now has heard us all talking about, you know, get out of the way. You know, don't get in there. Don't stick your nose in it. Let the football people handle the football things. He's gotten out of the way and given everything to Ballard. And it's a Ballard reboot. 6 years, right? 6 years of one playoff win. 6 years of not great results. It's a reboot for him as well. This is basically going to be going into year 7, going to be year number 1 for Chris.
And do you agree with that philosophy that Jim Irsay is going to back off and say, you can do it, Chris, even though you've had 2 playoff appearances and 1 victory in your first 6 years? We're going to let you go ahead and build it back up, quote unquote, the way you want to. I mean, at some point, the clock's going to strike midnight on Chris Ballard, and Jim Irsay is going to say,
the next 3 years.
And Jim Irsay is going to say, we need to get a new GM because Chris, I've given it your way. Okay, let's say 3 years. So 9 years in, and we'll say maybe one time in the next 3 years they made the playoffs. 9 years in, you make the playoffs 3 times. That's not the Jim Irsay that we're accustomed to as far as this franchise goes. I mean, in fact, the reality is, Jay, this franchise hasn't been exciting since the AFC Championship game in January 2015. That's the last time there was excitement in this organization. You can say maybe in free agency that year in March of 15 when they got Andre Johnson, Frank Gore, Todd Harriman, Trent Cole. But we saw how that panned out. There has not been any buzz about this team being a contender in quite some time.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, too, you go back to Luck's final year. You know, when you get that win on the road in Houston, the only playoff win, you know, in the Ballard tenure here, and then you lose on the road at Kansas City, and then you get the retirement. And since that point in time, it's been an absolute mess. How much of an argument do you make about had 2 years ago, for example, they decided to go ahead and reboot this? You know, when Rivers decided, when they bring Rivers in and they still go to the postseason, and they had hoped at that time that Rivers was going to be here for 2 years, even though they signed him to a 1-year deal. Do you think now, hindsight 2020, you go back and look at what you could have done and gone a different direction at quarterback? Should you have gone a different direction and drafted a quarterback even prior to Rivers being here? They say kicking the can down the road. I'm assuming hindsight's 2020. You look at that and think you should have restarted this clock long ago.
The moment that Jacoby Brissett could not get the ball past midfield against Tampa in December of 2019 in a game where Jameis Winston went through, 5 interceptions or something, and Jacoby Brissett couldn't get across midfield, you should have said, we are going to select a quarterback. Jacoby is not the guy going forward. Fine, you bring Phillip Rivers in, but you had a young kid sitting behind Phillip for that year, and once Rivers retires, you hope he's ready to make the transition in. They just, as far as pre-planning going or, pre-funking it up, they didn't funk it up. They didn't go out there and get everything in order so that once that moment came, they had that guy ready.
So Mike Wells of ESPN Radio is with me. We're inside the garage at Bottleworks. We have moved this party inside as we're watching NCAA tournament games and talking a lot of Colts, too. Parris Campbell signs a free agent deal a little bit earlier today with the New York Giants. That is some of the latest. And, again, we'll get you caught up with all these scores as they're about set to get underway. I think they actually are in the second half in that Kansas and Howard contest as well. And you got a second half game going on. 49-47, Utah State in the lead in the 10-7 game. That's in the South region. 49-47, Utah State right now with under 11 to go in the second half. And Howard and Kansas just about set to get ready to start that second half of play there. All right, Pacers later on tonight in Milwaukee. You kind of know the situation there. They never beat the Bucks, so I would not think that they beat the Bucks tonight. We'll see about both Halliburton and Turner and McConnell. I saw Halliburton and McConnell shoot around in Milwaukee a little bit earlier today, so maybe both of them play this evening. I don't know about 33 as far as him being a part of it as well. But making that comparison with the Pacers and the Colts, Mike, if the Colts would just come out and say, hey, this is what we're doing without us trying to interpret it or our interpretation added to it, would it make it easier on the fans? Would it turn the fans away? How do you think they would feel if the Colts were to, like Rick Carlisle did and the Pacers did, just say, this is what we're doing right now, show some patience?
You know, I think they need to come out and publicly say, hey, we're going to, as you guys can see, based off of the moves that we've made so far, we're going to have to remold this. We have a new lump of clay, and we're going to mold it and try to get it back in the direction it should be in, because the approach that we took in trying to mold the clay before, it clearly has not worked. The patchwork quarterback situation of guys that were, and this is no offense to Phillip Rivers, but the reality is the last three quarterbacks they've had were on their previous teams. Those teams didn't want them. Think about this. Phillip Rivers, yeah. They turned, the Chargers said, we're going to go in a different direction. Justin Herbert's our guy. Carson Wentz lost his job to Jalen Hurts. Matt Ryan, the Atlanta Falcons, said, hey, we're going to try to get Deshaun Watson. We're not going to get Deshaun.
And when we don't, we're going to settle for 2 years later down the road and Caleb Williams. That's probably what they're doing right now.
Exactly. So think about it. That's three teams, three quarterbacks where their previous teams did not want them. They were the starting quarterback for the Colts. And outside of Rivers, who did a hell of a job, he was the best of the three, there hasn't been much success. There's been zero success, quite honestly.
No. I mean, yeah. And then I think that's part of it, too. Like, if you were to come out and put it in the terms of what Rick Carlisle and Pacers did back in October, I think more people would be even more turned off with it right now. I think with the NFL, that's one of those things where it's much different than the NBA. You can have, and I'm not suggesting this is going to happen, you can have a surprising season coming off a bad season. You can have an off season of doom and gloom and then flip it, right, and surprise everybody much easier than you can in the NBA. And certainly in sustain it, because the Pacers, everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody was happy with what they were doing. I'm assuming that most people right now are happy, regardless of who they end up selecting at quarterback as a rookie. People are happy as Colts fans they're doing that. But they don't want to hear too much about how this team is going to be terrible in March. Way too early to talk about that. Way too early to say, all right, this is like a rebuild and a reboot. I know they're going to stay away from it. So I think if you're quiet, that's the play in the NFL, because, again, it's much easier to be a surprise and better team than it is for you to be in the NBA, for you to be in Major League Baseball. And it probably would turn people off even more than some of the Colts fans have been turned off by these moves or lack of moves that we have seen so far.
You know what I find amazing, though? It is harder to rebuild an NBA roster than the NFL roster.
Oh, yeah.
If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you can stink, and you can get the top pick in consecutive seasons. The NBA, you can stink, but there's no guarantee you're going to get a top pick because you don't know which way the balls are going to drop. So you can get screwed in the NBA trying to sit here and say we're going to rebuild, and you can end up with the 12th pick in the draft.
Yeah. Will Levis at number 4. The fact that the Colts didn't move up to number 1 like Carolina did, the fact that a lot of people want to see them go at Lamar Jackson and try to bring him in, which I think is about as laughable and completely out of character as Chris Ballard giving up anything to trade up to number 1, which I didn't think was going to happen there either. Well, what do you think about number 4? Is this in terms, if that is their selection, is it a settle? Or is it somebody that they have hard targeted for a while and they believe in? How are we going to view that if that's the call?
Well, in all honesty, you got to believe that Chris Ballard knew when the fact that they weren't going to trade up to 1. He had to believe that somebody who needed a quarterback was going to jump ahead to number 1. I mean, they're not. They may have made questionable moves in recent years, but they're not dummies now. They had to believe that, okay, somebody's going to leapfrog us and go to number 4. Now I'm just curious on, is somebody going to leapfrog them and go to number 3?
Yeah.
Who needs a quarterback? Now, if that's the case, then I believe they settle, because then you're stuck with either Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. And so I think they're in a settlement. Now, if Arizona says at 3, clearly they've got Kyler Murray. And then the Colts take a quarterback at number 4, I think they believe, okay, they're going to take the better of the 2, because Houston at number 2 will take whatever Carolina doesn't take between Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, unless for some odd reason there was a report or something that said Frank Reich was high on Anthony Richardson.
I think that was from like a couple of weeks ago, too. That was early March, I believe, that I saw that, and I saw that as well. I mean, listen, that may be their target, but people say, and then the Vegas odds are dictating right now that what they're looking for in this case is C.J. Stroud. But is this the case at number 4? If you draft a quarterback at number 4, and you've covered the Colts for such a long time, they always say, let the board tell you what to do. Listen to the board. Take the best player available. If Levis is there, or if Richardson is there, and let's just say Will Anderson is there, are they taking the best player available at number 4 if they select a quarterback?
No, I don't think so. They first of all, unless they think they can get the Georgia quarterback later on or whatever, they got to take a quarterback before. Can you imagine the reaction out of the fan base if they don't select the quarterback at number 4? I think they will put a pot together and bring in a truck and take Chris Ballard out of that facility on 56th Street on draft night if they don't take a quarterback at number 4.
No. Listen, it would surprise me much less if he were to, for example here, draft the best defensive player or an edge rushing defensive player at that spot and then trade that second round to try to get up to take a guy like Hendon Hooker. That would surprise me much less than had they tried to move up to number 1 or had they have any interest whatsoever in Lamar Jackson. That would surprise me much less, because when I had Chris on, the first thing he did was joke about trading down. And I said, I don't know if people are going to be finding that too funny. But I don't think he would. Mike, he is in a comfort zone right now. And he may be the only general manager in the history of the NFL to be in a comfort zone going into year 7 with 1 playoff win. He's in a comfort zone because he's got this year, he's going to have next year, and he's going to have year number 3 as well, to me. He's not going this year. He's not going next year, right? His proof is going to be coming up in year 3. So he's in the comfort zone to be the same Chris Ballard if he wants to be, if he feels that way, if he still deeply believes in how this team is built into a team that's a winning squad. He's still going to be able to do that. I think that he will stay with those thoughts and certainly that line of thinking that he has had for the first 6 years.
I don't even know what to say, Jay.
Seriously.
I'm just.
So you think that he could be gone after a year? I think the only way he's gone after 1 year, this coming year, for example, is if the quarterback that you bring in is like a Zach Wilson thing, where it's just an absolute mess, on and off the field if it's a mess. Otherwise, right?
Okay, so I think we're in agreement that they're basically tearing down and building back up. With that said, do you keep Shaq Leonard?
No, but they're upside down in terms of how you normally build a team. Shaq Leonard, DeForest Buckner, Jonathan Taylor, who's coming up as well, Quentin Nelson. Think about Taylor. Taylor's probably going to get, done, extended, coming up in the late summer before camp. Yeah. So you are upside down in terms of how you normally build a team and put together a team. In terms of how teams do it nowadays, building off of the quarterback. They are implementing the quarterback into, parts that have already been paid that are supposed to be ready-made to win right now, when clearly this team is not.
Yeah. So essentially, good luck, Chris Ballard.
No, I mean, yeah, listen, he is just going to be able to be him. And I think he's going to continue to be him. Like it or dislike it. I don't think that philosophy with him is going anywhere.
All I got to say is I'm glad I'm able to turn the channel on Sundays now.
Oh, yeah, so you don't have to watch it anymore? Well, you can't. I'll tell you what, you can't coming up tomorrow night, though, because you're Mr. IU guy now. You're Mr. IU now. So you got to be on board at what, 9:55 or so?
Hey, that means
coming up tomorrow night?
My ass has got to take a nap before
You're
the
going
game.
to take a big nap.
Or I'm
right
about to get one of those amino energy drinks that you're sipping on.
Well,
right
I'll tell you
now.
what, right here, there's a great Cuban restaurant that's got the Cuban coffee in there, and there's nothing outside of just sniffing a line of cocaine that's more eye-opening than that. So that thing will keep you going like Tony Montana all day.
I'm going to have to definitely drink up tomorrow night to stay up for that 9:55 game against Kent State. So it'll be interesting. I tell you this, man. Why are people so hung up on the Kent State coach, man?
Oh, Rob Senderoff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he was a part of a bad moment in IU history.
I mean, there's people out here just roasting him and stuff, man.
Yeah. They probably will. What was it like? It was like 15 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of Kelvin Sampson. I mean, that's stuff that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
It's probably more, not so much personal with me. I just wasn't a big fan. I agree that he's a good coach. I've never really paid too much attention to Rob Senderoff and his coaching ability, although people will say this Kent State team is pretty good. But no, it's all about the ill effect that he had, even though that the rules are so drastically different with the passage of time. The rules are different now, and I mean, hell, now it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to now. You saw Rick Pitino talking about that earlier today. I mean, essentially, it's just like free agency right now in college athletics and college basketball. You can just go out and reload. Look at all these players already in the transfer portal.
Man, hey, Butler got hit hard this week.
Like four dudes already in there. And then one guy, Jaden Taylor, I think they liked a great deal too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Brownsburg, Pierce Thomas is in the portal. So yeah, they're Thad Mata's gonna have to clean. He's gonna have to reload that pantry out there.
Coming up on the other side with Mike Wells of ESPN Radio. I do want to bring up IU and Kent State coming up tomorrow evening. Also Purdue and Farleigh Dickinson. Did the Farleigh Dickinson coach put his squad in a bad spot, or were they already in a bad spot and it really doesn't matter? Just save that for a tease. Were they already in a bad spot and it just doesn't matter, or did the coach saying what he said after last night's win in Dayton make it worse? We got reports from Columbus and Albany, New York, coming up a little bit later on, too. And Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. Parris Campbell as a free agent to the Giants. We'll talk about that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We're live from the garage, Bottleworks. Mike Wells, ESPN Radio, JMV from The Fan, inside the lounge via YouTube Live. You can see us working right here. Jump on board. We'd love to see you out here, but I love to see you conversing. I love the activity going inside the lounge via YouTube Live as well. Yacht Rock review tickets to give away before the end of the show, too. That's for August the 12th down at the TCU Amphitheater. We shall do that and more. Again, inside the lounge via YouTube Live, you got us on HD Radio, the stream, the app, and 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Back with you next.
Hey guys, looking for a reason to spend 3 days on the couch watching basketball? Schedule your vasectomy at Urology of Indiana for a Thursday or Friday, then sit back, relax, and catch some games over the weekend while you recover. It may be the only time your wife approves of hoarding the couch and the remote control. Vasectomies at Urology of Indiana are simple and typically take only about 15 minutes. Soon after, you'll be out the door and on your way home. During your recovery, you'll take ibuprofen and be back to your normal activities in 3 days. The docs at Urology of Indiana are board certified and perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long. They're pros at what they do. And they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. If you've been putting off your vasectomy, now is the time. You'll never have a better excuse to watch basketball. Call Urology of Indiana or visit vasectomyindy.com for information and to schedule an appointment. That's vasectomyindy.com.
Hey, Johnny, for the best in plumbing, that's Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. 317-927-7186. I'm telling you, from a leaky faucet that can drive you nuts to a major plumbing emergency, there is nobody better to handle that business at all times than Lance and LD Smith Plumbing. Remember the number, 317-927-7186 online. That's ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Hey, Indy. Tim Piersont here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey. Did you know March Madness and Chattanooga Whiskey have a lot in common? For example, we selected our flagship bourbon recipe through bracketology. That's right. After years of distilling and barreling hundreds of experimental recipes, barrel number 91 emerged as our champion. We now call it Chattanooga Whiskey 91, an award-winning small batch bourbon. Featuring notes like toasted honey and graham cracker, we think you'll enjoy it as much as we do. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
Hey, if you've ever wondered what's in your water, I've got a great idea for you. You get a hold of Joe and John from Connecticut and find out for yourself. Get that free water test and find out exactly what is in your water. And then how best they can treat that, right? So you may have a scent, an odor, maybe a taste. Get that done and check it out today with Connecticut. K5 in-home drinking water station, absolutely incredible. The Premier Series water softener. It will transform your water into the absolute best water possible. With my friends at Connecticut, the two Indy locations, northeast side Castleton, south side US 31 and Southport Road, online, ConnecticutIndy.com today.
A new career offers new beginnings and unlimited opportunities. Begin your career with Eskenazi Health, ranked as Indiana's top hospital for community benefit by the Lown Institute. At Eskenazi Health, our patients are treated with compassion and skill. That's why Eskenazi Health is looking for professionals who share our mission and have a passion for serving their community. Enjoy excellent benefits, competitive pay, and unwavering leadership support. Learn more about Eskenazi Health careers at eskenazihealth.edu/careers.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're not just good at insurance. We're good at Dillon's Jam Session Truck Insurance.
Where the backwoods party and the diddle-de-doom.
We're good at Ben's Hype Machine on Wheels Insurance.
You a boss. You were him.
And we're good at Ethan's SUV with surround sound insurance.
Dad, play Johnny Apple Pie.
You got it, bud.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
Hi, it's Kevin Bowen for Window Nation. Have you noticed your energy costs have been rising dramatically? Nationwide, energy prices have increased over 14% since last year. It isn't too late to do something to fix your high energy bills. Beat the spring rush with the last month of off-season pricing at Window Nation. Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy with 0 down payment, 0 monthly payments, and pay 0 interest for 24 months. New windows will pay for themselves with the energy savings on your energy bills, and you will pay nothing for 2 full years with 0% financing, saving you hundreds of dollars. Go with the window company that has installed nearly 2 million windows by installers with over a decade of experience only using top-of-the-line installation materials, which is why 96% of installs require no follow-up service. So call 866-90-NATION and get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy with no limit. Again, this offer will not last long. So call Window Nation today, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Tell them Kevin Bowen sent you.
If your wedding anniversary is approaching, that means a visit to Barrington Jewels in Clearwater Crossing. You have to see the truly one-of-a-kind creations. You'll find unique anniversary bands and the finest watches, all at great prices with special financing available. Always shop Barrington Jewels first. Consider upgrading her diamond, a truly special way to show your love. Don't wait. Get to Barrington Jewels today. And remember, you haven't seen a diamond until you've seen a Barrington diamond. Visit Barrington Jewels today.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
The Ride with JMV.
I love JMV. He looks like Rascal Flatts guy.
Got a cool soul patch.
He does, and a buttery smooth voice.
Oh, yeah.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
So this is what I get. I'm trying to understand this. They don't even know what quarterback they will have. Just stop. You sound ridiculous. Let's get the quarterback, then we can build around them. Some of you media are going off the deep end. What the hell did I say to go off the deep end? I said it didn't surprise me, and it really didn't matter.
Listen, man, you cannot debate with Colts fans, man.
This person's especially nuts right here, but
they get pretty emotional. It's an emotional time for this franchise. They've sat there and they've been messed up in the head since Andrew Luck retired almost 4 years ago.
What's funny about some of them, especially a clown like this person right here, is that they think that they singularly represent all the thoughts of every Colts fan out there. Hey, I'm still engaged. That means everybody's engaged. Believe me, the Colts are extremely worried about your enthusiasm / engagement coming up. Going into a season where, predictably speaking, they're not going to be very good. They are. Even if you aren't, even though you may slide right up the rear end of the Colts and never come out for air. Never come out ever. Never see the daylight. Somebody like you. There are others out there that the Colts do not want to see find other things to do on Sundays.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. Listen, I don't care if they didn't keep Parris Campbell. I completely understand why.
The reality,
I'm just saying you're going to have a rookie quarterback, and that rookie quarterback will need people to throw to. And the fact that Parris Campbell wasn't greatly expensive, showed signs of being healthy all season long. You know, I don't think it's a bad play to keep him. I don't think it's a bad play if he left. Didn't matter.
No. I mean, Parris Campbell's a receiver. It's not like he went out and said, okay, he's definitely the number 2 to go with Michael Pittman Jr. But I'll tell you this, if I'm Michael Pittman Jr., I'm looking at my receiver room around me. I'm like, holy cow, can I get some help out here? Can I get some pieces around me? Can I make it difficult for, opposing defenses to scheme to stop me? Because you look at that roster, yes, we are just on the second day of free agency, but you're looking like, okay, I re-signed Ashton Doolin. Everybody's waiting for Michael Strawn to show some stuff, but there's no intimidation out there. You look at that roster like, oh, my God, this rookie quarterback's going to have some stuff to work with. No, that's not the case. When you look at the makeup of this roster, there's going to be plenty of time. You got the draft. I know Chris Ballard's going to say, "Oh, we don't jump at the first wave. We're not going to overspend in the first wave of free agency. We're going to let the market set itself. There's going to be good guys out there." I feel it's like I've been in a Chris Ballard press conference once or twice in my life.
Listen, people are viewing this differently. I'll get back to that in a second. Meantime, 239-1070 is the number. Mike Chappell, top of the hour. Dylan can lead off the show today. Hello, Dylan. How are you?
Good. How you doing, John?
I'm great. Go ahead.
Yeah. Everyone's freaking out about us letting Parris Campbell walk. The guy, he's healthy for one full season. I really just think that was his ceiling last year. We've got Alex Pierce, Michael Pittman. We might just draft a guy. So I don't understand some of these other Colts fans that are freaking out right now. Like you said, we're not expected to be that great this year. We need to let these young guys develop, and then hopefully, we have Alex Pierce for the future, Michael Pittman, and then some guy out of the draft. But that's all I got, man.
Dylan, thank you very much. I don't know. I haven't paid attention, I guess, today. I don't see people freaking out. Did I freak out about that?
No, trust me.
I didn't care.
I'm sitting right next to John right now.
There's no freaking out.
And listen, John's sitting there without a care in the world.
Zero cares.
Listen, man.
Zero blanks given right here.
Exactly. The only thing he's worried about is all the nonstop vasectomy ads that are airing right now during the NCAA tournament, boy.
Telling you what, I'm staying firm with my fellas down there. Staying intact.
Hey, great marketing. I wish I would have did that during the NCAA tournament instead of doing it in the middle of July where the frozen peas melted pretty quick.
Sit on top of those. At JMV, fans are not dumb. We know that they're rebooting. It should be an exciting time, not a pissing and moaning, bitching and complaining time about not making moves. It's not time to be making big moves when they don't know who will be quarterback. What big moves are we talking about here? What the hell kind of big moves are you talking about? At least if you're going to complain about something that's smart. What the hell big moves are we talking about?
Well, first of all, what is outside of DeForest Buckner and that trade, When is the big move they made? Okay, yes, they traded for. Big move that has worked out. We're not going to throw Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan trades
I just
in
don't know
there.
what big moves we're talking about here.
But then, and listen, you want Chris Ballard to make a big move, and then that move doesn't pan out. You're going to moan and groan about, oh, why did Ballard do this? Why did Ballard do that? That's just you can't appease everybody.
And I'm going to tell you this: there's not a lot of people excited about what type of season they expect to have. That's why I put it in terms of the Pacers. How you survive something like that, how you get past it, is you show signs during the season that things aren't all lost. You surprise. They still could do that. I don't think anybody expects them to do that. They still could. Regardless of who the quarterback is going to be, you can still do that. But, in terms of handling it, the Pacers got out in front of it, and they said, this is what we're going to be. And then, at least through the first 3 months of the season, up until Tyrese Halliburton going out, they over-delivered in the minds of all their fans.
And I think the Pacers, Kevin Pritchard, Chad Buchanan, Rick Carlisle, they had to do it.
They did.
They had to publicly acknowledge that because, goodness, the last couple of years, doing the show on Fridays, we were just killing that organization. But, they made the moves, and they acknowledged, hey, we got pieces, but it is going to take time. Please have patience. It'll get going in the right direction at some point. So how you doing, man? So they acknowledge that, and I kind of believe that Chris Ballard should do that because when is the last time Chris Ballard has come out and said, A, either we're going to be really good, expect to be really good, or B, you know what, we just got to start all over. It's got to start from the beginning.
Just over deliver, right? You got people that under-expect, and maybe this person's really excited about what's going on, but there could be others out there that aren't, that won't be, that may find different things to do. That's exactly what the Colts don't want.
Hey,
so what you got to do is over-deliver. Go ahead.
Hey, real quick, I got friends texting coming down here. Where are all the TVs in here? They want to know where the TVs
TVs are to the left and to the right. Stand up, sit down, fight.
All right, good. They want to know if there's TVs here.
Oh, yeah, plenty.
Okay.
Plenty in here.
Okay, good.
Mike Wells of ESPN Radio JMV inside the garage. We're at Bottleworks today. Timmy's up next at 239-1070. Hello, Timmy.
What up, JMV? How you doing?
Timmy, what's happening?
I tell you why Chris Ballard ain't telling us to be patient, because I think he told us that his first or second year. Just be patient, give him time. And was he going to backtrack now? He's just like these Indiana drivers. As soon as it rains, they drive with the brakes, and we go nowhere. So that's exactly his philosophy. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you very much, Timmy. I appreciate that. See, Chris Ballard's really never promised anything. He said, we're going to get it done. He said, we're going to figure it out. But he's never really promised anything. Jim Irsay's the one that's promised.
Irsay has no filter. He has no problem in saying, we're about to go into 2023, and unless they plan on winning 6 Super Bowls in the rest of this decade, winning 2 Super Bowls in the next 6 years, they're not going to have those multiple Lombardis that Jim Irsay has talked about. Or the fact that, forget worrying about the Tennessee Titans now as their thorn. They need to worry about Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley and Doug Peterson down there in Jacksonville. That's got to be their priority. They got to win a division. They're not even breathing down the neck of teams in the division right now.
So there is a fish and chips place in the garage here, right? It's right over here where we sit. If you're walking in from the College Avenue side of the garage, it is to your right as you enter, and they have brought over some Scottish eggs just in time for St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. Would you like to partake in some Scottish eggs right there?
Yeah, I'll gladly do that.
I think you might. And thank you very much for that, too. So for great fish and chips, obviously, you come in here and check that place out. That's fantastic, and thank you for bringing the food to us. We enjoy it.
You should do a show out in the city at a different location every 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. You might end up being 500 pounds, but you should do it. I'm
maybe trying to track that down anyway.
But I think you should do a show out in public at a restaurant every day.
It's at 239-1070. I think Toby's up next before the break. Hey, Toby, thanks for the call. How are you?
Good. I got a Colts draft scenario question for you.
Okay.
I don't know what the number 4 pick is worth by moving down, but could you see a scenario where they move down from the 4th pick to get more picks, and then in the second round at pick number 35, they take Hendon Hooker?
You mentioned that earlier.
I did. I mentioned that. I can absolutely see something like that happening. Do I expect it? Toby, I'll sit here and tell you I don't expect it, but it would not. That would be much less surprising to me than the prospect where people thought that Chris was going to trade up for the number 1 overall selection, or where Chris was going to have interest in trying to bring in Lamar Jackson. That would be 100 times less surprising.
What could they get for that number 4 pick?
Oh, it just depends what somebody would want up there for, I guess. I mean, in terms of maybe somebody wants up, for an edge rusher, maybe somebody wants up there. Maybe they like a quarterback that the Colts don't. And again, in your hypothetical, you have the Colts liking Hendon Hooker, who was injured and probably going to be in the second round. But what that would also mean is they would probably have to get up in the second round, given some of these mock drafts have Hendon Hooker falling early on in the second round. So you'd have to maneuver around a little bit. But trading down is something that Chris Ballard has done and has had some success in it. So, I would much be more floored if there was, even with number 3, for example. I'd be more floored if he just traded up one spot, giving up any assets whatsoever, than he might in trading down for somebody they like that they feel they can get much lower.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
You got it.
Hey, is he related to Chris Ballard? He's talking about, trading back. We all know how Ballard said, I love my picks. I love my draft picks, stockpile picks.
I'm telling you, he's comfortable right now. No matter what we think. What's up, buddy? How you doing? No matter what we think he should be or shouldn't be, no matter what you think about the first 6 years, he's comfortable and moving forward. And listen, I don't know if it's the case or not, but it does seem like that Jim has been much more hands-off in letting him handle absolutely everything right now. You don't see a lot of, and who knows if it's even, Jim Irsay tweeting, but you don't see a lot of the stuff that you saw over the course of the season.
Not hanging out outside the plane. Saying, you see more Irsay tweets about music.
Yeah, there's no big promises, and there shouldn't be. But it just kind of seems like that everybody's saying, let the football people handle the football things. It seems like that's exactly what Jim Irsay is doing right now, and the major player, and that is Chris Ballard. And he feels comfortable in it. Hey, Donk, jump on here before the break at 239-1070. Hello, Donk.
John, man, what's happening to our Pacers? Hey,
Good
by
to
the
hear
way,
from you, buddy.
Brownsburg School Board. Brownsburg School Board, what's up?
I'm gladly repping a Brownsburg umbrella too, man. I love it. I love it. Love my bird.
Hey, John, we're slipping in the standings, man, and all the experts are saying, man, this Grady Dick from Kansas is going to be our pick. My question is this, man. Obviously, Dick's long enough, but is Dick strong enough? My question is, will he fit in?
Yeah, he's probably I think Dick's probably going to have to get a little bit wider, add a little bit more girth.
Love you.
I'm sorry, Donk, man. You can't set that up for me like that and not have me go with it. All right, you can't do it.
Oh my goodness!
So he's going to have to add a little bit more girth. So no doubt, but he can shoot it, which also is pretty fun.
Yeah, you got to be able to shoot your shot, man.
Donk, anything else? Thank you, Donk, for that too. Hey, here's the thing regarding the Pacers. They're probably going to take a drubbing tonight at the hands of the Bucks. They get the Sixers coming up on Saturday. I'm assuming that's not going to work out well, although I think Philly, that's going to be the second of a back-to-back.
Listen,
probably still
Miles is getting his big brother.
So that's not going to work out work out well. But, to me, they have given enough this year for you to kind of understand that for the future, Tyrese Halliburton's going to be the guy. I mean, you've got a legitimate guy for the future, and that puts a lot of minds at ease with the Pacer fans.
I love watching Tyrese Halliburton play, man. I mean, I was at that game last week against Philadelphia when he put out a 40-piece and 19 assists or 18 assists or whatever that game. The kid is a real deal. So they do have what is there in him. I gotta say I kind of feel like Chris Duarte's kind of dropped off though. I'm not.
No, there's no question about that.
Yeah, I think and a lot of it is that his playing time has been diminished. When is your boy Benedict going to get into the starting lineup full time?
Well, he's in. I mean, I don't know if he's going to return this year after rolling that ankle last week. So next year probably that's when he gets, and we'll see some changes. It kind of makes you think because they also floated around, or at least the name Chris Duarte was floated around prior to the trade deadline. Then maybe they might try to find a different seat for him. But I will say this, Mike. The moves that they make this offseason should be interesting, and it will test the dynamic of whether or not you have an up-and-coming elite-level player as a centerpiece and how much that might be able to draw in interest that in the past has not been here. I mean, just interest in general, but, interest in the past that certainly has not been here. All right, we're live inside the garage at Bottleworks. I know Ryan's going to join us coming up a little bit later on. We'll talk about that. We're going to get updates for you from both Albany, New York, and Columbus, Ohio. You got Purdue and you got Farleigh Dickinson tomorrow at about 6:50. Rob Blackman, the voice of the Boilermakers in the 5 o'clock hour from Columbus. From Albany, New York, Jeff Rabjohns of Peegs.com with an update on IU and Kent State, which is scheduled to tip around 9:55. Coming up tomorrow night. I'll get you updated on all the games going on right now. One upset so far today. Virginia knocked out by Furman on a final couple of seconds 3 after an incredibly awful turnover by the Cavaliers. Furman moves on. Virginia go back to Charlottesville. We'll get you updated on the games that are going on right now and more. Inside the Garage, Bottleworks on a Thursday on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Winter Blues are almost behind us, and we can't wait to get out of the house and be more active. That sounds great, but your achy joints don't agree. Well, time to do something about it. It's Kevin Bowen. You could stop with the steroids, stop with the possible surgery chatter. Now there's a better way to get lasting relief, and it's from QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. This exciting approach uses healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, and then placed directly into your achy joint. It can restore and repair that damaged tissue and get you moving again without pain, knee pain, back pain, shoulder, hip pain. This patient satisfaction reports are incredible, and there's no downtime. You can learn more about this wildly popular, all-natural, alternative way to get lasting pain relief with no surgery and no drugs via QC Kinetics. The call is free. The consultation is free. 317-559-PAIN. Locations at Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. A free consultation. You've got nothing to lose, and the timing is right for you to enjoy the best time of the year. QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN.
Hey, JMV here for Sundown Gardens. Spring is just around the corner, even though you're probably not going to be able to tell in the next couple of days, but it is. At Sundown Gardens in Westfield, Sundown Gardens is your spring headquarters on the north side for trees, bushes, shrubs, annuals, perennials, mulch, pottery, and more. And right now, Sundown Gardens has 25% off all houseplants and houseplant accessories, including at Sundown Gardens, making a big announcement. A second location coming later on in the spring. Coming soon is Miss M's Home and Garden by Sundown, and they're coming to my neck of the woods. That's down in Bargersville off of State Road 135. Cannot wait for that. I just talked to Scott a little bit earlier today about that Bargersville location and more. But right now, take advantage of 25% off all houseplants and houseplant accessories. Sundown Gardens in Westfield. Ask them about their customer service loyalty card program today as well. 186th and Spring Mill Road. That's sundown.gardens.com. Sundown.gardens.com.
Dream homes come in all shapes and sizes. And at TCU, we believe borrowing options should too. There's no one-size-fits-all mortgage. Let our knowledgeable team pair you with your perfect loan solution while you pick the perfect pairing of paint colors for your new place. Plus, save up to $1,000 on closing costs, which means more money for the fun stuff. Together, let's make it yours. Welcome home with TCU. NMLS number 686706, federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity. All loans subject to credit approval and membership requirements. Offer details at tcunet.com/welcome home.
Yeah, I know we're up and down with the temperatures right now. That's just the way that it is around central Indiana this time of year. Just always make sure that your system, whether it's hooking on with the warm as it will the next couple of days, or you need to get that thing here in the foreseeable future into the cold at 317-353-2141. John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air. This fluctuation in temperatures, it can mess around with the efficiency of your system. That's what you don't want. You don't want to be living in your home, being uncomfortable, and you don't want that to cost you money. 317-353-2141. Get Love Heating and Air out to your place. They're going to waive, if you mention my name, their $95 travel fee as well. 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
What if I told you, in Iran, women are banned from going to soccer games?
Mom, take the ball.
For 43 years, Iranian women have fought back. Police pushed us. Troops. This is their story.
The joy was forbidden.
What is the meaning of that?
That is how they control you.
I'm Shimol Yai. Listen to the new 30 for 30 podcast, Pink Card. Available now.
It's a patio show every day at Indy Decorative Concrete. Hi, Audrey Artisan here with Indy Decorative Concrete. We may not have flowers, admission fees, or parking fees, but what we do have is the city's best showroom for stamped concrete. Come in and see actual examples of endless patterns, textures, and colors to create the patio of your dreams. Stop in and see for yourself. We're on the city's southeast side off of Brookville Road and 465. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts, changing the way Indy thinks about concrete.
Wouldn't you say it's time for a beauty refresh? Lucky for you, Ulta Beauty's 21 Days of Beauty is happening now. So treat yourself with up to 50% off bestsellers like Benefit Cosmetics and MAC Cosmetics. And say hello to new product launches from Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, Tarte Cosmetics, and so many more. That new you feeling is waiting at Ulta Beauty. But hurry, Beauty's biggest event ends April 1st. Shop in-store, online, or try curbside pickup today. Ulta Beauty, the possibilities are beautiful.
Save some green at Big Red Liquors and save time and money when you shop at a local Big Red. Since Big Red buys the deepest deals in the state, they're able to pass on the savings to you. Become a VIP and unlock hundreds of deals across the store to save even more green on the brands you love.
Grab your friends and head to Dancer Show Club on West Washington Street. March means basketball on the new big screens and way more at Indy's premier gentlemen's club, just minutes from downtown, the airport, and the track. Free admission with Pacers same-day ticket stub, bachelor parties, divorce parties, birthday celebrations. Get ready for 8,000 square feet of fun, featuring bottle service and daily specials on domestic and import drafts, including Guinness Nitro, Metazoa, and 3 Floyds. 4 p.m. to 3 a.m., 7 days a week. Visit dancershowclub.com for more.
The Pacers head to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. Tonight at 7:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Ahoy, Floyd.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
We are inside the garage. Bottleworks, day number 1 of the NCAA Tournament. Upset today, 13 seed Furman 68-67. A final couple of seconds three-pointer off a really bad turnover by Virginia. The 4 seed goes down 68-67. 8-9 game, Maryland gets past West Virginia 67-65. Those games are in the books. Also gone final. The 7-seed Missouri 76-65 over the 10-seed Utah State. That also in the South region. Games ongoing right now as we get you updated. Howard and the 1-seed Kansas with about 3 minutes to go in the second. And the Jayhawks comfortably in front of Howard, 89-66. Norm Roberts is coaching again for Bill Self, recovering from that stint that procedure-wise was done to him, I think, over the weekend or maybe late last week, certainly. But Bill Self not on the bench today. Under 8 to go in the first half. The 12-seed Charleston 18-13 over the 5-seed San Diego State. And also, as they near the 5-minute mark of the first half of play, Alabama right now 41-27 as the 1-seed working over the 16-seed Texas A&M Corpus Christi. In the 4 o'clock hour, 15-seeded Princeton, the 2-seed Arizona, 4:30 for the 8-9 affair between Arkansas and Illinois coming up. You can watch it all here. You can eat here. You can drink here inside the garage at Bottleworks. We would love to see you out here. Mike Wells of ESPN Radio is also on board. Any thoughts you got as we get ready for Mike Chappell, but also talk a little IU Purdue coming up tomorrow in round number 1?
Listen, I just feel special that I'm able to be on here with the dean himself, Chappie, on the show. But I gotta tell you, man, and I'm not saying this because my main paycheck comes from down in Bloomington, but I'm a little worried about those Boilermakers. And I've been very outspoken that I love Matt Painter as a head coach. But once you get into the tournament, especially if you get a team that wants to play up and down, how is that going to impact Zach Edey, who clearly has had a hell of a season? Not going to shortchange that, but once they get to a team that, the freshmen are going to have to jump up the beat. They got to play like sophomores and juniors, meaning Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer. They got to step up big. They can't have those 1 of 9 shooting games. They can't. Braden's got to control the tempo offensively for Purdue. I'm just nervous about them.
I got to go into the Final Four, Mike. Final Four: Purdue, Arizona, Gonzaga, Texas.
Why?
I believe in them this year. I think in a year where everybody and the parity shines, I think for that team, I think that's good. But I do listen. There are warts that we're talking about here, and the three-point shooting that goes away and the young guard play that can happen, that worries you.
Hey, it would be great if Purdue got to the Final Four as a 1 seed.
Everybody has that, though. But I have Arizona, Gonzaga in the final game, and Gonzaga with probably one of their not-so-better teams, certainly in the last couple of years, winning it all with Drew Timme and Mark Few over his former longtime assistant Tommy Lloyd in Arizona.
Listen. This is a great year for Purdue. For Gonzaga. Not to be talked about because we saw a couple years ago so much hype. Baylor came in and smacked them in the mouth with the athleticism in the title game. So it is wide open. Hope the Boilermakers can make a run, and hopefully IU too.
Mike Wells of ESPN Radio. I'm JMV inside the lounge via YouTube Live, as well as where you also get us on the stream, the app, HD Radio, and more. Mike Chappell's going to join us coming up on the other side. So Parris Campbell, as a free agent, goes to the Giants. We'll talk about that. The rest of the Colts so far, what they've done in free agency, those that they have lost in free agency. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 is next.
Are you dealing with foot, knee, hip, or back pain? Well, it sounds like you could use a spring in your step. Hi, this is Phoebe with the Good Feet store, and I've got just the thing to help you spring forward into comfort. Good Feet's unique, patented 3-step arch support system is designed to reduce pressure on your joints to keep you feeling energized all day long, even when you're running on an hour's less sleep. With less pressure on your joints, you'll also experience less pain and discomfort too. When you visit the Good Feet store, we'll take time with you to figure out what you need on your free personalized fitting. You can also take all the time you need to walk in-store to feel the Good Feet difference personalized for your feet, your shoes, and your lifestyle. Most of our customers say they feel relief immediately, and you can too. Make your appointment today at goodfeet.com. Don't just live with the pain. Discover your options and spring into comfort at the Good Feet store. Come in today for your free personalized fitting and test walk. We're in your neighborhood. Visit goodfeet.com to find the location nearest to you.
Hey, here's something with Get 'em and Associates I'm thinking about doing certainly this time of year. You guys ready? It is for a custom remodel in 2023. Indoor and outdoor, and that's exactly what you're getting from Jason Get 'em and Get 'em Associates. We're talking kitchens, baths, inside, outside. You want that great leisurely time in that outdoor living space. Maybe that's a pergola, maybe that's a screened-in porch, maybe it's even more than that. But there is nobody better with 35 years of experience serving Central Indiana than Get 'em Associates to get the job done right inside or outside your home today. So tell them I sent you. Schedule an appointment and get the ball rolling on your new digs, inside or outside, with Get 'em Associates. That's getem.com today, GETTUM.com. Tell them JMV sent you.
Spring in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey guys, looking for a reason to spend 3 days on the couch watching basketball? Schedule your vasectomy at Urology of Indiana for a Thursday or Friday, then sit back, relax, and catch some games over the weekend while you recover. It may be the only time your wife approves of hoarding the couch and the remote control. Vasectomies at Urology of Indiana are simple and typically take only about 15 minutes. Soon after, you'll be out the door and on your way home. During your recovery, you'll take ibuprofen and be back to your normal activities in 3 days. The docs at Urology of Indiana are board certified and perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long. They're pros at what they do. And they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. If you've been putting off your vasectomy, now is the time. You'll never have a better excuse to watch basketball. Call Urology of Indiana or visit vasectomyindy.com for information and to schedule an appointment. That's vasectomyindy.com.
Dirks Bentley, Gravel and Gold Tour.
They all know why I'm getting drunk on the plane.
Live at Ruoff Music Center, July 9th with Jordan Davis.
And that's what my world spins around.
And Tyler Braden. Dirks Bentley.
Yeah, I'm so unreal, I wanna be.
On sale this Friday, 10 a.m. at livenation.com.
Yeah, it feels like
part of the Coors Light Concert Series.
Need new tires? Skip the long appointments and bad coffee. With Go Mobile Tires Indy, order tires online and have them installed at your home or office. GoMobileIndy.com. We come to you.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
It's party time. P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back inside the garage area of Bottleworks, which is an incredible complex if you've never been here. Mike Wells of ESPN Radio is here, but right now he is surprising me on a drink. He's going to bring something back that will surprise me. So I'm ready for that. He rejoins us in a second. Ryan's going to join us. DJ Helicon, who runs things here, coming up a bit later on, too. And we got live updates for you coming up from Columbus, Ohio, and Albany, New York. Get an update from Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilermakers, on Purdue and their matchup with Farleigh Dickinson. That's coming up tomorrow at 6:50. Great place to watch it is right here. Rob joins us in the 5 o'clock hour. Jeff Rabjohns of Pigs.com, who joins us live from Albany, New York. Rob from Columbus, Jeff from Albany, New York, all coming up a little bit later on the show. Meantime, via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right, hold on one second. Is that a Bloody Mary? No, what is that? What do we got here?
Hey, you told me to surprise you, man.
I'm surprised. It looks very surprising. What do we got? What is that?
Some type of margarita. I don't know.
Some type of margarita is what I'm drinking right here. All good.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that,
you, brother.
Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We'll get to right now Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. Would you let Mike Wells surprise you with an alcoholic beverage, Mike? Ever?
Hell no. I mean. And I tell you, it just tells you where my life is. I'm spending Thursday afternoon talking with two drunks.
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. Every Thursday you're with one at least, okay? So.
And you get a bonus today, Chappie. You get a bonus, and I couldn't surprise Chappie because Chappie's a simple guy. He's that guy that gets chicken tenders all the time and gets some pizza, and he's good to go. So there's no surprise in Chap when it comes to anything. Chap could probably surprise us, and he would probably get it where I can drop like 85 more F-bombs more than normal if he had his choice on that.
You know, we're at the press room. We were back in the press room this week to talk to coordinators, and I miss the frequent F-bomb when we're all there. So you are missed, Mike.
Well, maybe if the Colts are a little better, I'll swing by sometime next season and come in. I was going to swing by late in the season on a Friday because we all know I never showed up on Fridays when I covered them when the weather was nice because I was golfing. But they went downhill so bad that I didn't even want to say hello to Jeff Saturday. That's how bad things were over there.
It was tough sledding, and the only thing we had really to keep ourselves going were ourselves. And when Matt Conti came in, and we could just shoot the buzz with him for a while.
So Mike Chappell, who is with us. All right, so earlier today we learned that Parris Campbell, and that is a guy that I think some of us thought maybe the Colts would have interest in retaining, keeping around. Signs a free agent deal with the Giants. I'm not surprised. I mean, really none of this stuff is surprising me any longer whatsoever. But I would ask you, were you surprised that he did not end up here?
Only because from what you see from the contract, you're thinking, really, that's because I thought he might get a pretty good contract because it's a really thin market. But it's like 1 point. It's a little over $3 million, and then you can get about double that with incentives. I just think that's a decent contract for a guy. I realize that the problem is, was last year an aberration and you're not confident he stays healthy or what? But without him, he was your second leading receiver. So here we are again. They need receivers. And so you and I, and maybe Mike as well, but I understand where we are with receivers and how they're going to approach it. They created another hole on a roster when they've already got holes. So all things being equal, I would have re-signed him for that contract. But who knows what Shane Steichen thought about him? That's a wild card in this.
Chappie, obviously there's a number of holes. There's no hole bigger than at the quarterback position. I think everybody knows that. You'll be paying attention to that leading up to the draft. But as you look at how free agency has unfolded, and since I say Monday morning or Sunday, where is the biggest hole on this roster now, not named quarterback?
Probably receiver, cornerback. You send Gilmore to Dallas, and right guard. And, they need a right guard. And I realize it's still early in free agency and the draft and all that, but they need those three areas really kind of cry out to me to get fixed.
That's a lot. Hey, I thought you might say one or two, but that puts in perspective how far down the Colts have fallen as far as they got so many positions that they need to address with limited aspects. How are you on Twitter right now when the fan base is panicking, saying, what the hell is Chris Ballard doing? How come, the biggest signing, the most money they've spent is on a kicker, and we know kickers are a dime a dozen. I mean, are you basically having to tell people to relax? This is not the first time Chris Ballard is taking it slow at the start of free agency.
Yeah, you want to say, what have you guys been watching for the last 6 years? I mean, this is what they do, and by and large, with most of their free agent signings, there have been a lot more hits than misses. There really have been. But, again, I just don't agree with the approach at receiver, and I won't. Yes, I overvalue receivers, especially bringing in a young quarterback. I want him to have some, really quality options around him, but I don't think that's going to happen. At best case, they're going to use a second-round pick on a receiver again. But, yeah, I wasn't all that upset about the kicker. Everyone that we talked with said Chase McLaughlin was the most important guy to bring back because of what he meant to him last year. Well, if you believe that, Matt Gay is an upgrade over Chase McLaughlin, and that's not to disrespect Chase because he was probably the MVP last year. But if you can get one of the top 3 or 4 kickers in the league for 4 years, that's one thing you don't worry about. It's similar to when they signed Vinny back in 2006, made him like the highest paid kicker. Now, so you didn't worry about that for the next 4 years. Now I realize the team in 2006 was a lot further along. That was a Super Bowl team, and this isn't. But it's not like they overpaid for a guard and paid him $15 million. No, okay, maybe you slightly overpaid for a kicker, and it's $5.5 million. So I wasn't upset about it at all. That's one thing you don't worry about for the next 4 or 5 years.
It's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. What do you think? Is there anybody wide receiver-wise you think that maybe Ballard deems discount relatable that they bring in? Because I would agree with you on one thing. I don't care if we don't know who the quarterback is going to be. We don't know who they're going to draft. You're still going to have to line up some folks to give whomever it is some help. Is there anybody out there, anybody you expect to be out there, maybe as a veteran, maybe an over 30-year-old veteran, they'd bring in a discount to kind of help out things?
Probably later on. I mean, Adam Thielen's still out there, but I think he is. But that's not the kind of guy they go after. So I don't know. I want to say no. I think they're going to go, and initially they'll do it in the draft, and they'll get a second-round draft pick again. And then I think they find the Devin Funchess type guy, Kamar.
Oh, God, Chap. You cannot mention Devin Funchess' name. I mean, the guy played 3/4 of a game, not 3/4 of a season, 3/4 of a game. Oh, my God. Don't look at your mentions now, Chappie.
But that's the guy they always go for. And, it's just that's not been where they value putting their money. And, I've never agreed with it. I'll never agree with it. It's just detrimental to bring in a young quarterback. I remember back when they brought in Andrew Luck in 12, and it was greatly important to re-sign Reggie Wayne because you need to have that guy that really help your quarterback. And so right now you got Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce and Ashton Doolin and Michael Strong. And Doolin's got 33 career catches and Strong's got 5. So you've got 2 guys in the room that you can really, really depend on. That's not enough in today's NFL.
So Mike Chappell, who joins us, I'm going to get back to Matt Gay and that signing. Biggest free agent contract ever signed by a kicker. Certainly when you compare the numbers to that of Chase McLaughlin, the percentages are higher in kicks in general, has a bigger leg, 50 yards and out. I justified that early in the week. Now, I know this. A lot of Colts fans want to joke about it because you're coming off a 4-win season, and the first time you basically dip your toe into free agency, it's with a kicker. And considering that if there was one guy that was consistent enough over this past really bad season, it was their kicker in Chase McLaughlin. But I kind of understand it from this standpoint, is you need to have, even though McLaughlin did a good job, a more reliable kicker and a longer kicker, given whomever is here at quarterback. You're going to assume a lot of these drives are going to get stalled out, so you're probably going to be kicking at times to get points in general from long distances, doing something you really don't like to do, Mike, in terms of offense in the NFL, especially to win games, but to try to keep yourselves in a competitive situation. It seems to me like you needed. I know it's kind of laughable to a lot of Colts fans, but I felt that was an upgrade that if they were going to go that direction, to me it was justified.
Yeah, he's 28. Like I said, barring injury, he's going to be your guy for the next 4 to 6 years. He just is. Again, it's not like you're overpaying $20 million for a receiver or $15 for a guard. It's $5 million and change for a kicker. In the building of a roster, that's not that big of a deal. It just isn't. It's just when you try to put it together with, well, you still need a right guard, you still need a receiver, you still need a couple of cornerbacks. It's an issue, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. We're all, we've all been attuned to kind of getting out of sorts with kickers, but for the last 3 years, up until last year, kicker was such a huge problem. Ever since Vinny's last, bad year in 19, they've been like an 83% kicking team. That's ridiculous. You just can't do that. And again, I think they would have been okay with bringing Chase back, but when you have a chance to get Matt Gay for that kind of a contract, boy, you do it, and you don't think twice now for the next 4 or 5 years about your kicker.
Man, Chap, I think fans are more upset because that it was the timing of the move. It wasn't.
No question.
I think that the Colts hadn't made other moves out there at probably what they believe more important positions. It was a kicker, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, they're signing a kicker. What the heck's going on? Yep. JMV, by the way, your favorite member of the Wells House just texted.
She did.
She called her dad boring. Can you believe that?
Boring?
Yeah, she called
You're
her
not boring.
She called her. She's listening right now, and she called her dad back boring. But
I love me some Layla Wells.
But listen, when Layla has her hand out, though, I'm gonna remember I'm boring, so I'm gonna be boring and hand you $1, Miss Layla. So keep that in mind. But Chap. Jay and I have been having a conversation. He believes Chris Ballard is safe for the next 3 years based off where the roster's at. Do you agree or disagree on what they have to do as far as trying to become contenders again?
3's pushing it, but yes. I mean, when they decided to bring Chris back, and we can debate that forever, but when you bring him back and you're going to go with a rookie quarterback, you've got to have more patience. Whether fans agree with that or not, that's the case. And this is not going to be a fun team to watch next year, I don't think. I think they're going to struggle because of the makeup of the team with the quarterback. Who's the backup quarterback going to be? Because the rookie's probably not going to be ready. So this is going to be a team that fights and scratches and wins a handful of games. Management's got to have patience with the GM because this is where you are now. It's funny. I heard Stephen Holder mention, and he's really spot on. To where are these guys in complete reboot mode, or are they trying to do what the Pacers did and sort of stay competitive and not just go in the tank? And it's a good idea. I don't think the team's done a really good job of letting us know what they're doing, what they want to do, stay competitive. But they get rid of Gilmore, which gives you the impression that they're not looking for next year. But, then they sign some guys. Well, maybe they do. So I'd like to know what they think they want to get accomplished this year while they're building for 2 or 3 years down the road.
I brought this up. Rick Carlisle came on with me in October and said, listen, fans, you got to have patience because this is going to take a bit. Now, I think that works in the NBA with the Pacers. I just don't think that works in a season with the Colts here, especially with, in the past, what everybody around here as a Colts fan has been told. However, do you think that's an approach the Colts should have? Should they just be outspoken at some point here and tell the fan base exactly what they're doing and how they're trying to rebuild, or should they just let us speak for them, give our opinions and let the fan base kind of learn this thing on the fly? What's the better point to do here?
I would like them to give a better idea of what their objective is, and the fact you're going with a young quarterback, it tells you what they're going to do, and fans will be patient if they see a quarterback come in here, a young quarterback that you can say, this is our guy. Give us a chance to build him. Yeah, I'm not saying Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck at all, but I'm just saying with a young quarterback, he gives you a chance to see the light down the road. Not okay, we don't like these quarterbacks this year. We're at 4. We're not going to move to 3. We're going to kind of take the best defensive player on the board, and we like the quarterback group next year. Now, give them a quarterback this year. Give them a player you can have faith in and trust in, and I think then the fan base would be okay. They'd be anxious. But it's obvious this is a rebuild because you're going to have a young quarterback in this quarterback class, which I get the impression all these quarterbacks, these 4 quarterbacks, have been pushed to the top because of the desperation, and teams are always looking for that quarterback. But if you get a guy with 4 or 3, at least he gives you hope that maybe in a year or two you might be back to be competing with Jacksonville in the AFC South. Without that quarterback to lean on and to hope for, I don't know where you go.
It's funny that you said back to compete against Jacksonville in the AFC South. I mean, that's how far the Indianapolis Colts have fallen. I mean, it's something tells me you and I think the same, Chap. You probably laughed when you saw that Carolina jumped up to number 1 in the draft, and it was basically like Frank Reich said, all right, you guys fired me in Indianapolis, but I'm going to make sure I get my QB. I'm going to get the quarterback. So let's just say the Colts stay at number 4. And, Carolina takes 1, and Houston takes whoever the second best quarterback is, whether it's Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, and that leaves Will Levis and Anthony Richardson at number 4 on the board. Which one do you think would be, based off what you've read, what you saw, talking at the Combine, best fits the Indianapolis Colts? Do you take the project in Richardson, knowing that you may not have a backup quarterback that can step in and be ready to start? Or do you go with a guy like Will Levis and just hope he could be the second coming of Josh Allen?
But Josh Allen took a year or two to get going too. So, Anthony Richardson, I'm always leery when a player at any position just blows everybody away with a great workout at the Combine. This guy started up with like 13 games in college. It's a boom or bust pick. The question I have is, with Chris Ballard and where he's at with the Colts and job security, whatever you want to call it, is he willing to go boom or bust? That's not been who he is. It's not at all. And then Will Levis, I don't know. That's why I say, if I'm the Colts and I like both of those guys, I move to 3 to get the guy I want. I don't want to say, well, this is who we ended up with. Well, but, you could have gone to 3 to get a guy, only if you believe there's a difference in him. So, because if you stay at 4, there's a really good chance somebody goes to 3 to get a quarterback. It's just that's the odds. So it all depends on how they have these guys ranked. Maybe they don't think any of these guys are any good or are franchise quarterback level. But I would rather have as much control as possible on who I take a quarterback. And if that means giving up a second or third round pick or whatever it would take to move to 3, I would do it just so I know I'm lessening my risks on my future and the franchise's future. But again, it all depends on how they have these guys evaluated. And Richardson scares the bejesus out of me just because he's a great athlete, talent, potential, and he started 13 games. And what did he complete, like 54% of his passes in college? That just scares me.
Man, can you imagine what the fan base, the outrage will be if the Colts stay at number 4 and another quarterback needy team comes in and moves up to number 3, swaps picks with Arizona, and the Colts are left with basically, the scraps of those 4 quarterbacks?
Right.
The fan base is going to be outraged.
If they stay at 4 and they don't like who the 4th guy is, and they take the best player in the draft, whoever the defensive player is, and they try to get their quarterback later on, or they kick the can down the road, and they sign who's the best free agent quarterback out there? Mariota.
Right, they're going to sign Gardner Minshew, right? They're going to sign Gardner Minshew to be the veteran backup. Maybe the starter. Yeah.
It's just kind of risky, depending on how they have him ranked. Sitting at 4, just anticipating somebody's going to go to 3. Maybe no one goes to 3. Maybe no one else likes these guys either. But I would be willing to give up something to limit my risk of getting the 4th quarterback off the board. And Chris Ballard and his guys may be sitting there laughing at us saying, these quarterbacks are just guys. They're nobody special. And but again, with so much on the line, and you've been in there, Mike. You've listened to Jim Rusty talk about we've got to develop we got to draft, develop our own. We've got to get off of this veteran kick. And this is the best chance they've had to do that since Andrew Luck retired.
So Mike Chappell with us. Before I let you go here, it seems to me like, and normally I don't even know if there's anything that is like this going into year 7 with one playoff win and the results we have seen without making a general manager change. But Chris Ballard seems to me as comfortable as ever right now. Would you agree with that? I mean, as comfortable as ever, designing this team, putting together this team again in the eyes in which he has in the past.
Right, and we all anticipated, well, would he change his ways? Would he be more aggressive? Would he be more, spend more money? And really, no, he hasn't. He's still trying to get the defensive line straightened out. He's got to do something on the offensive line, but this is who he's been. And I think that's the approach. I think his approach is, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down true to my principles. He's going to stick to who he is. He believes in himself. The one area that's really just continued to bite him in the butt is quarterback, and they've got to get it right this offseason. They've got to get it right.
Hey, people don't like to hear this, but he's got 3 more years. He's got 3 more years, going nowhere this coming year, going nowhere in year 2, which basically, so year 1's year 7, year 2's year 8, and year 3's year 9. So in year 9 or year 3 is going to be the proving ground. I think that's the type of cushion, the type of time that Jim Irsay has given him to put together that winner.
I think there needs to be definite improvement in 2 years, in 2024, in 24. You just can't still be muddling around, in the second year of this. I'm not saying he's going to get fired at all, but I think from all those looking on, you need to really see something moving after this year, because this year I think again is could be very difficult. But that next year they've really got to say, look what we're doing. We've made improvements. We've done this, that, and the other. Steichen's second year as head coach. That's when we really need to see some movement forward.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for spending time today with Thursday afternoon with 2 drunks. We'll do it again next week.
Well, guys, good talking with you, Mike.
All right, Chappie, be good, brother.
Mike Chappell right there. An update from Albany, New York. Jeff Rabjohns at Pigs.com. A feel for IU Kent State coming up tomorrow night. Live from the garage, Bottleworks, where the games are on. We'll get you updates on those. The great food and beverage as well. Mike Wells of ESPN Radio, JMV here, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Do you need new tires? Let me tell you about AAA's new mobile replacement tire service, My Pit Crew. Jake Query here. My Pit Crew, a new mobile replacement tire service from AAA, offers a convenient way to have new tires installed on your car without ever leaving your home or office. The process is simple. Pick out tires online at aaa.com/mypitcrew. Schedule your appointment and then relax. A My Pit Crew technician will come to install and balance your new tires at a time and location convenient for you. That's correct. I did exactly that. Got brand new tires put on my vehicle right there in my own home when the My Pit Crew showed up right there at my house to put the new tires on my car. With My Pit Crew, they bring the tire shop to you. Plus, you don't even have to be a AAA member to use My Pit Crew, but AAA members do get a discount on their My Pit Crew tire installation. Visit aaa.com/mypitcrew to pick out tires and schedule your installation. Then relax and let them come to you. Don't spend another Saturday at the tire shop. Contact the My Pit Crew team today.
Parris lays it up and in. It's a 9-point game. Crispus Attucks is going back to the state finals. Head fake and drive. Layup by Hunter. 84-77. 5 seconds left to go. Inbounds to Attucks. Bossy will not foul. Wow. Crispus Attucks is going to the state championship for the first time since 1959.
Hey, Greg Rakestraw, Bob Lovell right there. The 2017 3A Semi-State, Attucks 84, Evansville Bossy 77. And that was a fantastic game right there. The great call by Greg Rakestraw and Bob Lovell. And, of course, you looking at the semi-states around the state of Indiana this week will be absolutely fantastic. We're talking about locations like Newcastle, the Hatchet House in Washington, Seymour, Southport Fieldhouse, all engaged with great games. So, if you want to check out for a terrific price, great basketball, ihsaa.org to find the schedule and the locations for the games of your choice this weekend.
Celebrate St. Paddy's Day all week at Twin Peaks with Irish Whiskey, Guinness Beer, and Scenic Views. From March 11th through 17th, they'll be featuring a lingerie costume party and drink specials on some of their favorite festive shots, cocktails, and more. Feeling lucky? Wear some green into the lodge on St. Patrick's Day and your Twin Peaks girl will bring you a free order of fried pickles. It's St. Paddy's Day and Twin Peaks knows how you like to party. Valid at participating locations only. Get with your favorite lodge for more details.
Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hey, it's John here for CarX, your 14 Central Indiana CarX location. Spring road readiness is what we're talking about right now. Brakes, tires, brake pads, oil changes, and more. Joe Childers run 14 Central Indiana CarX locations. To find the one nearest you, that's CarX.com today.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub full of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa hot tubs are the only hot tubs on the market that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Made right here in Indiana, Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Visit any one of our 3 Indianapolis locations or visit royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're not just good at insurance. We're good at Maya's half duplex with a 2-car garage that holds more concerts than cars insurance. We're good at Summer's 2-bedroom rental with an outdoor balcony for taking her virtual yoga class insurance. And we're good at Audrey's 3-bedroom remodel with walls that just aren't thick enough insurance.
Could you guys close the door? It's show.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you're going to get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
The Ride with JMV.
You are more reptile than man, George. So low and flat that the foot of man is incapable of crushing you. How dare you?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome back inside the garage. Bottleworks. As we got you. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Hey, you're like a celebrity, man. I'm sitting here and I feel
everybody
like,
loves you.
No, hey, listen, I feel like I'm what's my man from the Diddy guy that had always held the umbrella for him, man? With P. Diddy? Farnsworth,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, you're like Jerome to my Morris Day.
Exactly, man.
So you're gonna hold the mirror up and be.
We're on the air, man, and people just coming up, and you got all kinds. You got male groupies, female groupies. You're just
love it. I love all of them.
And
I love everybody.
Speaking of groupies, man.
Yeah.
Next Friday night, a week from tomorrow, man.
Did you tell Dion over there? I think Dion knows.
Hey, our man Dion, man.
Manny's got to go with us too.
Yes.
Our friend Manny's going. I just explained that for the first time to Dion that he's got to get a ticket for Manny too.
And Dion came over and said, "Hey, I hear I owe you a ticket to check out New Edition and Guy."
That's
and
next
Keith
Friday.
Sweat.
Next Friday night.
I cannot wait.
Speaking of Friday, tomorrow we're going to be at O'Reilly's to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. That is going to be incredible. I don't know if we're going to get a return engagement with Mike Wells, but I know we're going to get Matt Taylor and the Gorman will all be down there for the last word. I know Brent Holverson's going to be there, our betting analyst, and more. That's coming up tomorrow at O'Reilly's downtown. We celebrate St. Patrick's Day with free samples, which is going to be absolutely incredible. Meantime, we'll get to the games that are ongoing right now, get you updated on the scoreboard in just a second for the first round, day number 1 of the NCAA tournament. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is staked out in Albany, New York, the site of the IU first round matchup with Kent State coming up tomorrow night. From Pigs.com, he is Jeff Rabjohns joining JMV and Mike Wells here. Hello, Jeff. How are you?
What's going on, boys? Coach Wells, how are you?
I'm good. You good, man? Is the state of New York treating you all right? That's the most important question.
Of course it's the most important question. No, it's great. It's great. Everything's smooth and easy. Folks here in New Albany, been great.
Did you say New Albany for a minute? They're great in New Albany, too. We know them a little bit better, don't we?
In the land of Jim Shannon, things are always good.
Give me us, if you will, a little thumbnail sketch of Rob Sinderhoff's squad. That is Kent State from the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who jumps out the most is Sincere Carey. A fifth-year guy, started his career at Duquesne, transferred to Kent State. Leading scorer, 17.6 points, 4.9 assists. Will go in and get rebounds, 3.7 as basically a two-guard. He only shoots 31% from three, but he's averaging almost 6 threes a game, so he will go after it. Offensively, no matter what. Ryan Thomas is 6'8", but he's a three-point three-point shooter. They're a real physical team. I think that's the thing that stands out the most. Chris Payton, one of their other backcourt guys, athleticism, goes inside, gets on the glass, comes off the bench at 6'7", but he's a physical, bouncy athlete. They're the kind of team that they want to make it physical and rugged. Jalen Sullinger's another shooting guard with basically a point guard build, big, strong, 42% from three. So they're a physical team. They went toe-to-toe with Houston, which is one of the more physical teams in the country. Only lost by 5, and I think Sincere Carey was something like 1 for 11 from the field. So they will get into it. They have no problem turning the basketball game into a street fight.
Hey, Jeff, let me ask you a question. Going into this, obviously, IU didn't win the Big Ten tournament. Give us one reason, one thing that should cause maybe IU fans a little nervousness about potentially losing the Kent State tomorrow night?
I think the biggest reason for concern for Indiana fans is that in most games against really good teams, either Trace Jackson-Davis or Jalen Hood-Schifino has pretty much had to be Superman. Trace was pretty much Superman through most of January and February. Jalen Hood-Schifino had that phenomenal game at Purdue, carried Indiana to a win. But when one of those two guys isn't going, or, God forbid for Indiana, if somehow both of them aren't going, it's really tough for Indiana to find somebody else who can carry the load. Now, their other guys can be good complementary players at times. Tamar Bates has had a couple games where he's had multiple threes. Miller Kopp's had a couple games where he's had the double figures. Certainly Malik Renault has really been coming on. Career high 11 rebounds in a Big Ten tournament game. But the concern for Indiana is, what happens if Fino and Trace are both struggling.
It's Jeff Rabjohns of Pigs.com at Albany, New York, coming up tomorrow night. Round about 9:55, probably a little bit later tip time than that coming up. In round number 1, day number 2 of the NCAA tournament. Much explanation you might have for the lack of really getting anything done in a couple of games for Trey Galloway that kind of stood out over last weekend of the Big Ten Conference tournament. Any reason behind that?
I think it was, at times he was rushing a little, I think. Whether he felt that or the coaches felt that might be a different story. But I thought there were times he was rushing a little bit. And I think just, he needs to just square up and take threes when he's got them. He's really improved his shooting percentage. He struggled his first 2 years, but he's been very good from three this year. I just think he's got to be confident and go out there and just let it fly on offense. Even though we only had 2 points in those two Big Ten tournament games combined, which obviously you need more from that from your starting two guard if you're going to make a deep tournament run. Doesn't have to be huge numbers with what Jalen Schifino and Trace Jackson-Davis can produce. But you need something. But Galloway was one thing about Galloway. Even when he struggles offensively, he stays locked in on defense. And I almost think against Kent State, if you put Trey Galloway on Sincere Carey, I think Trey Galloway defensively can be and probably would be more impactful than Trey Galloway offensively.
When you saw the bracket on Sunday and you saw where IU was at, did you say this was a favorable bracket for the Hoosiers to potentially make a run, or did you look at it and say, okay, there's a chance for early slippage if they're not locked in?
Well, there's a little bit of both, and I know that's a really boring answer, but the reason is when Indiana's playing like they were when they went on that run and won 9 of 12, and Trace is basically playing like he's unstoppable, Indiana can clearly beat Kent State, and they can beat Miami or Drake. And I'm not going to give Miami the automatic win, even though talking to Nigel Pack today, he was incredibly confident. But I think it's reasonably favorable. There's two teams that Indiana can beat without having to do something that they haven't done all year. And that's one of the things I look at in the bracket. You go, okay, can Team A beat Team B by doing what it does well? And I think if you look at Indiana versus Kent State or Indiana versus Drake or Miami, and you say, okay, Indiana can beat all three of those teams by doing well what it has done well this season. And then you get to the Sweet 16, and it more than likely, unless there's upsets in front of you and the bracket breaks, it's going to get rugged at the Sweet 16 level. The second weekend should be tough. But I think it's a reasonably favorable bracket for Indiana.
Jeff Rabjohns with us, not a great deal of, but a little bit of a spark, and in this case, a neutral floor, a road game, if you will, for Tamar Bates. Was there anything to play off of in the Big Ten Conference tournament? He had shooting the basketball, which was, I'm not suggesting it's overwhelming, but for this team, I mean, you kind of look for anything anywhere in that category. Was there something maybe they can play off of?
Wait, say that again. You cut out on me a little bit there. I couldn't quite hear that.
Tamar Bates, I mean, there's nothing overwhelming with what he did shooting the basketball in Chicago, but certainly there were some positive signs there. Is that something that he can play off of with this offense, something that maybe consistently hadn't been there this year, but was in Chicago and maybe could travel to Albany?
Yeah, I think just having Tamar Bates be a really confident three-point shooter. In Indiana's loss to Penn State, they only made 2 threes, but he was the guy who made both of them. He was 2 for 5 from 3. So I think if you're Indiana, if you say, okay, in an NCAA tournament game, we're going to get 2 threes from Tamar Bates, I think you take that. And then again, 2 for 5, if you're Indiana and you're sitting there ranked 350th, whatever in the country that they are right now, in percentage of points per game from the three-point arc, you take every single three-pointer you can get. And Tamar Bates, he has a good shot. He's athletic. He can get them. So I think he's one of the guys, to me, Tamar Bates, in order, 1 Miller Kopp, 2 Tamar Bates, 3 Trey Galloway. They have to shoot with confidence from 3 this weekend for Indiana to get a couple NCAA tournament wins.
And I completely agree. And you know what, Jeff? We've been talking about that all year long. And, in those games where you see it, it's a different team. It is a different team. A more reliable team gives you more hope if you're an IU fan. And, in a lot of these games where you don't see it and you just have Trace basically on an island carrying the load where it has worked and they have won, but you just don't like that equation in a one-and-done setting like this.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to a number of things, but one of the simplest way to maybe explain it is how many paths to victory does a team have? And then if you really only have 1 or 2, then your margin for error is enormously small. One guy has a bad game, boom, your season's done. If you have multiple paths to victory, especially if those multiple paths come from different guys, then your chances of winning NCAA tournament games go up. And, there are times Indiana's offense has been nothing more than, hey, Trace, save us. It's been their offense. Yeah. Now, It's worked at times because Trace Jackson-Davis is a unanimous first-team All-American. A number of people, Adam Finkelstein from 24/7 Sports, said one of the 2 best players in the country this year. Rob Senderoff, the Kent State coach, just said one of the most impactful players in the country this year. So, yeah, sometimes if your offense is Trace, save us, sometimes Trace can save you. Okay, he's that damn good. But if he got into foul trouble or something like that, you want more ways to win, more paths to victory. And if Indiana can just get a little bit going from 3, it gives you more paths to victory. And it keeps teams from just going straight drop coverage all the time and either bracketing Trace like Rutgers did or just a drop coverage to double on the pass like some other people have done. I mean, you look at some of the advanced analytics, and I think Trace is 2nd or 3rd in the country in points scored when he's been double-teamed on a possession. Now, that's been really productive, but that's heavy lifting.
Hey, Jeff, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I don't want no hemming and hawing. I just want a direct answer. How deep of a run? How far can this team go in the tournament?
I got them going to the Sweet 16. I think they beat Kent State. I think they can beat either Miami or Drake on Sunday. I just don't see how they can get past Houston. I think Houston's physicality, the fact that they send so many guys to the offensive glass, the fact that they're so physical with a dribbler at any point in time. I think it's tough for Indiana to get past Houston, and that's kind of assuming Sasser at least plays. Now, if Sasser doesn't play, and here I go hemming and hawing. If Sasser doesn't,
you ain't following the rules, man. You're not following the rules, Jeffrey.
Is that Professor Wells telling me my age became a B?
It is, man. Hey, listen, Houston's got athletes, man. They have athletes whether Sasser plays or not, and I know Hoosier fans don't want to hear it and stuff, but Kelvin Sampson's coaching his rear end off, man. He's done a great job with that program, so it'll be interesting. Listen,
well,
and I'm not saying. Go ahead. No, after you.
Oh, I think everybody realizes Kelvin Sampson's a phenomenal coach. Now that may not change IU's fans' opinion of him as a person because of what he did when he was at IU, getting them put on probation, leading to 3 awful years, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody knows the story. So I don't know that people's opinions of him personally, as far as IU fans go, is going to change. But I think everybody's seen what he's done, getting to a Final Four, the type of basketball they play, how hard they defend. And I think they've done a phenomenal job really in roster construction as far as Sampson has figured out, how do I want to win? Okay, I want a bunch of athletes between, let's say, 6'4" and 6'8". And it's not like they got some dominant post player. I mean, Walker's terrific, but he's not a dominant post player. He's listed at 6'8", and if he's actually 6'7" barefoot, I'll buy you dinners at St. Elmo's every day for a month. But, Sampson has figured out how he wants to play. And he has really went out and recruited very specifically to how he wants to play, and he's done a really good job, And yeah, IU fans are going to have certain feelings because, in their view, he screwed over their beloved Hoosiers, and that's understandable. But any objective look at Kelvin Sampson, yeah, he's done a terrific job as a coach at Houston.
That is Jeff Rabjohns of Pigs.com, ready and good to go from Albany, New York, tomorrow night. You've got Kent State, you've got IU. Jeff's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Jeff, I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. You guys take care. Professor Wells, always good to talk to you, man.
Likewise, Jeffrey.
The prof.
Yes, hey.
Are you bailing?
I'm about to bail, man. I figured 2 hours of running my mouth is
that's all good, man. It's great to have you.
Listen, I'm glad to come down on my spring break. I spent part of my spring break with you.
That's great, man.
And I
need Layla here, though.
Yes, trust me.
We need Layla and Laney running around.
Oh, my God. Listen, we be poor because she be trying to sample everything in here. But, hey, I may swing down to O'Reilly's tomorrow,
I think you should.
Come down and check it out.
I think you should. You got free samples flowing.
St. Patty's, and something tells me it's going to be a little crazy down there tomorrow.
A little crazy it is. Good to see you.
All right, brother. Be good.
Mike Wells of ESPN Radio right there. He's going to bail. Coming up at the top of the hour, Rob Blackman, Boilermaker Radio Network. The play-by-play man's going to give us an update on Purdue in Columbus as the 1 seed. Live from the garage, Bottleworks on the first day of the NCAA Tournament here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Mom, Dad, Sis?
Here we go again.
Why are you in a suit?
Picture, if you will, a world with the best network imaginable. I'm talking about the Xfinity 10G network.
Go on.
Mom, remember how your reality shows wouldn't load with all of us online? Now you can binge. And Susie, we'll have fast internet in the basement.
Nice.
If you have any questions, here's my card.
This is just your name on a gum wrapper.
Introducing the 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through March 21st, new customers can get 200 megabit Xfinity internet during our limited time Xfinity 10G network launch celebration for just $25 a month for 2 years. Plus, there's no annual contract required and you get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, John here for Love Heating and Air Conditioning. That's John and Chris Love. Going to waive that $95 travel fee to get them out to your place to make sure your system is working efficiently. Temperatures up, temperatures down. That's what we've been through recently, and to make sure everything is working the way that it should, especially in preparation for the warmer spring months ahead. Call the number, Get that $95 travel fee waived today. Mention my name, 317-353-2141. That's Love Heating and Air online, love-hvac.com today.
Indianapolis, do you have old, ugly, or even damaged concrete? Not sure what to do about it, but you know you need to do something? Well, you need to call Galaxy Concrete Coatings. This product is out of this world, and it's right here in Indianapolis. And just in time to give your concrete floors a transformation. Galaxy Concrete Coatings is 4 times stronger than epoxy. It's designed to not only work on your garage floor, but you can use it on driveways, walkways, around your pool or patio, commercial or residential. And it's UV resistant, which means it will not yellow. And even better, it can be ready to go in about 24 hours. Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com or call 317-751-9070. Indy, you're ready for a transformation. Call Galaxy Concrete Coatings today, 317-751-9070. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They are out of this world.
It's Andy Moore, Buick GMC, 131st, State Road 37. It is in Fishers. Eric Wilson is the guy I want you to talk to. If you're looking for a new set of wheels right now, that is the great spot. That is the only place. That is the one-stop shopping. And ask about the GMC Acadia with that elevation package. It is absolutely unbelievable. I promise you'll love it. I promise you're going to get hassle-free shopping, a great price tag, and service after the sale that's unmatched. Ask for Eric Wilson at Indiana's Best. Andy Moore, Buick GMC, 131st, State Road 37 in Fishers.
Let's be honest, a jewelry store is not where most guys want to be. Guys like Paul Goodall.
First-time diamond buyers, most of us are engagement ring buyers. We have no idea whatsoever what we're walking into, and we push it off, and we push it off, and we push it off.
But like so many other men, Paul was pleasantly surprised when he walked into Diamonds Direct.
When you go in, you don't have to have a big background in gemology. They don't look down the end of their nose at you, as you would find in some other places, and make you uncomfortable because you're not an expert in diamonds.
But by the time he left, Paul was an expert in diamonds because Diamonds Direct took the time to educate him, show him the inside secrets of the industry, and give him the tools to make a smart decision.
They do a really, really good job of laying out the information for you and not pressing you.
Diamonds Direct, a guy-friendly jewelry store where you're always treated with respect.
The great thing about Diamonds Direct is they alleviate that stress.
So relax, guys. It's Diamonds Direct. We've got your back. Get directions and store hours now at diamondsdirect.com.
Spring is in the air at Sundown Gardens in Westfield. Sundown Gardens is your spring headquarters on the north side for trees, shrubs, annuals, perennials, mulch, pottery, and more. Sundown Gardens has a big announcement, a second location coming later this spring.
That's right, Denny. Miss M's Home and Garden by Sundown Gardens is coming to my neck of the woods in Bargersville on State Road 135 several weeks from now. But for now, see all that Sundown Gardens in Westfield has to offer for spring at 186th and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com.
Can you handle the truth about your problem gambling? Is your truth missing work or important events in your life due to gambling? Do you brag about your gambling wins but hide your losses to the people you care about the most? Is gambling a way to escape pressures from home or work? If problem gambling is your truth, text INGAMB to 53342. Again, text INGAMB to 53342. Or face problem gambling by calling 800-9-WITH-IT. That's 800-994-8448.
Hey Indy, Tim Pierson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey. Imagine if your team scored 111 points every time they played. Sounds like a fun team to watch, and a lot more W's. It also sounds like sipping on Chattanooga Whiskey 111 Cask, an unrivaled, unfiltered, barrel-forward bourbon that scores 111 points with every sip. Our bold and chocolatey expression of Tennessee High Malt is a winner, and we can't wait for you to enjoy it as much as we do. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
Join NASCAR champ Ryan Newman at Donate Life Day at Cabela's in Noblesville from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, March 25th. Come for free family fun and games, plus an autograph session with Ryan Newman. You can win prizes and sign up to be an organ and tissue donor. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org/Cabela's. That's donatelifeindiana.org/Cabela's. And see you from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, March 25th at Cabela's in Noblesville.
The Pacers head to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. Tonight at 7:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We are inside the garage at Bottleworks. We're watching, I say, the real day number 1 of the NCAA Tournament. Game's ongoing right now. 11 and a half to go in the second half. It's all Alabama, 70-48. That's the 116 matchup with Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Under the 13-and-a-half-minute mark in the second, San Diego State a 5-point lead in the 5-12 affair with Charleston. Under 4 in the first half. Arizona right now 9 better than Princeton. 2:15 that matchup, 31-22. And 9-minute mark of the first half as they're underway. The 8-9 game between Arkansas and Illinois. The Hogs a 15-10 advantage thus far. 6:50 tonight. Auburn, Iowa, the 8-9 game, 7-10. Oral Roberts, Duke, 5-12, 7:25. For the 2:15 Texas-Colgate matchup, 7:35. 7:10 features Northwestern from the Big Ten and Boise State. 9:20, the 1-seed Houston, the 16-seed Northern Kentucky. 9:40, 4-seed Tennessee, 13-seed Louisiana. 7:10 matchup, Texas A&M, Penn State. 9:55 tonight in UCLA and UNC Asheville. 12. The 2:15 game is the 10:05 start. Big upset today, if you want to call it that. 68-67. The 13-seed Furman knocks out the 4-seed Virginia. We'll get you caught up with the scores already in the books and more. And an update from Columbus, Ohio. Boilermakers as the 1-seed coming up tomorrow. Get Farleigh Dickinson. Rob Blackman, the voice of the Boilermakers, set to join us coming up on the other side. Inside the garage, Bottleworks, NCAA Tournament style. We're doing it into the 5 o'clock hour. We go next.
It has no beginning.
Let's start something special right here, man. Let's go.
And no end.
Look, you got to get your team ready to play.
It is a constant.
Get a rhythm going.
Through every season.
Come back again.
It is always Colts season. Firing, hiring, free agency, the combine, the schedule, the draft, OTAs, minicamp, training camp, kickoff. The off-season questions is a season to be answered for this Colts team. The best Colts coverage is on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, John here for WeGrowHairEddie.com. Real growing hair again, 888-724-5129. It really does work. You can check it out on YouTube Live for real right here. Real growing hair again. WeGrowHairEddie.com. That's 888-724-5129. Contact Darren Andrews. Tell him I sent you today.
It's a patio show every day at Indy Decorative Concrete. Hi, Audrey Artisan here with Indy Decorative Concrete. We may not have flowers, admission fees, or parking fees, but what we do have is the city's best showroom for stamped concrete. Come in and see actual examples of endless patterns, textures, and colors to create the patio of your dreams. Stop in and see for yourself. We're on the city's southeast side off of Brookville Road and 465. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts, changing the way Indy thinks about concrete.
Hey, you wonder what's in your water, don't you? Get that thing tested right away. Joe and John will help you out with that, my friends at Connecticut. And then they're going to fix your water up just right with a K5 in-home drinking water station, not to mention a Premier Series water softener to make your water the best with Connecticut. Get it tested today. Check it out. 2 locations, Central Indiana, Northeast Side, Castleton, Southside, US 31, and Southport Road. The Connecticut Water app or online, ConnecticutIndy.com today.
A horrific car accident left Paula with major injuries and surgery after surgery.
I got to the point where I really couldn't walk. I had to resign from work. I was really just laying in bed. It was terrible. I wouldn't go back under the knife.
She missed working and traveling, but all that was about to change. QC Kinetics used natural biologics to treat Paula. No foreign substances. They provided regenerative treatments that helped subside the pain and restore her quality of life.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I was feeling more movement and doing stuff. And then I started crying. I'm like, I can't believe it.
For Paula, this moment was extremely emotional.
I couldn't do nothing. And now I'm working, and I was on my feet for 7.5 hours, and I feel good. I got my life back because of QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics now for your consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
pain.
Hey, it's JMV for my friends at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. John and Chris Love are the guys I trust to take care of my home when it comes to heating and cooling. The Love family has been serving Central Indiana for well over 100 years, and right now you can get $95 off your spring service. Get your air conditioner ready for spring and that hot summer and save $95. That's Love Heating and Air Conditioning, 317-754-0754 or love-hvac.com today. Tell them JMV sent you.
O'Reilly. Need new wiper blades but not sure which ones are right for you? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your vehicle and even install your new wiper blades for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades so you can see better in any weather. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Need new tires? Skip the long appointments and bad coffee. With Go Mobile Tires Indy, order tires online and have them installed at your home or office. GoMobileIndy.com. We come to you.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Son, you got a panty on your head. You drive fast, eh?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We are inside the garage at Bottleworks. Thank you so much for joining us. The real first day of the NCAA Tournament. Not rotten with upsets. One was big, though. 4-13, the way that it went. Furman knocking off Virginia. 2 seconds remaining, knocking down a three after just one of the worst passes you'll ever see to try to break a press. Speaking of that, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, hopefully we see no passes versus a press in the near future for the Boilermakers as the 1 seed. Staked out in Columbus, Ohio, awaiting that tip time around 6:50 tomorrow night. Farleigh Dickinson and the 1 seed Purdue, the voice of the Boilermakers, Rob Blackman. I do not want to see any passes against the press like we saw from Virginia. That was incredibly costly earlier today, Rob. None. Zero.
John, how about the irony, at least for a Purdue fan, of that being Kihei Clark, who also in 2019 made one of the most memorable passes in the history of the NCAA Tournament to give Virginia the tie, to send the game to overtime, in which Virginia beat Purdue to go to the Final Four. So the game of basketball, it giveth and it taketh away, because that was Kihei Clark in both of those instances. It's just an amazing story.
That is incredible. That seems like about 20 years ago, by the way, too. You know what I mean?
And the fact that Kihei Clark is still playing, because you remember he was a freshman on that 2019 team, and here he is still playing for Virginia. I mean, wow, what a career. Wow.
It is. Hey, the Boilermakers take anything at all away? Listen, to me, regardless of what is said after a win last night by the head coach of Farleigh Dickinson, I don't know how much. Certainly I know it doesn't matter to Matt Painter. I mean, maybe you get some player inspiration out of it, but anybody care about that? What was said last night, from what you know?
I've heard the players talk about it today, just eavesdropping on them. Yeah, I've heard them play it on their phone. How much of a difference it really makes in a game, I don't really know. As you said, Coach Matt Painter's not paying a whole lot of attention to that stuff. He's got a lot more things to worry about than bulletin board material. So I don't know. Maybe it makes a difference for the first 2 minutes of the game, but after that, I think all that stuff goes out the window.
Yeah, I think I saw Fletcher Lawyer's older brother Foster say Purdue by 100 after that last night. but I will say this, Rob. I would not expect it to have a profound effect on the players. But as you mentioned, I think rightly so, at the beginning of that game, maybe you're a little bit more fired up than what you normally might be as the 1 seed in that game where you're the overwhelming favorite. I mean, that might push a little bit of mustard for the Boilermakers at the beginning.
Yeah, it might. Maybe it makes the team pay just a little bit more attention than they would have otherwise. I mean, let's be very honest, a 1 versus a 16, it's sometimes difficult, I would think, if you're the 1 seed, to be real serious about that game. But I don't think that's the case for Purdue. But
just in case they weren't very serious about it, they certainly they now have Purdue's attention. I guess I'll put it that way.
Hey, the good and the bad, right? So regular season-wise, Boilermakers won it by 3 games. Cash in with that Big Ten Conference tournament win. But I thought this was good for Matt and staff. The way that game ended, not so great even with the win. You could still really go to work on a group that has certainly accomplished a great deal. You could still go to work on them a little bit, couldn't you, this time of year?
Oh, absolutely. You have a 17-point lead with 6 minutes to play, 6:15 to play, and that gets down to a 1-point game with less than 10 seconds to play. Yeah, there's a lot to be learned from something like that. I couldn't agree more. And look, I'm not saying that, from a Purdue fan standpoint, you probably would have enjoyed a 17-point win a little bit more. But the fact that the game came down the way that it did, there were some great learning lessons in there. And you hope, anyway, those are great learning lessons. You never really know till the season's over. But, if Purdue's in that situation again somewhere here in the NCAA tournament, hopefully those are lessons learned. So, but yes, I would agree. It was too easy, quite frankly. With 6 minutes to go, you're up 17. It just felt like it was too easy. And Penn State proved that, that they're legit, man. So I'm with you. Those are the kind of lessons you hope that if that situation presents itself again here in the NCAA tournament, hopefully your teams learn something from that and maybe can take advantage of it.
Hey, Rob, what's the biggest concern? I'm not going to say worry, but concern from your standpoint here regarding the Boilers in this tournament as the 1 seed. Is it fouls or a whistle that is different than what you have seen the entirety of the year, and especially recently in the Big Ten, or the 3-point shooting or the young guard play going away? Where's the major concern, if you had one, from that group?
I would go with the first 2 things you mentioned. 1, officiating, and 2, 3-point shooting. Now, the 3-point shooting was pretty good in the Big Ten tournament. Purdue was 40% through the first 2 games of the Big Ten tournament. Tailed off a little bit. I think Purdue was 21% in that championship game. But 40% in the first 2 games, neutral floor, shooting the same kind of ball you're going to shoot in this tournament. I thought that was pretty encouraging. But the second thing, and it's always a concern in the NCAA tournament, I think it's a concern for every team that plays, is how will the game be officiated? Because you're about to see officials that you don't normally see throughout the season. I have no idea who the officials are going to be tomorrow, but I think it's safe to assume that of all 3 of them, there's not going to be 3 guys that work the Big Ten all year. There's no way that's going to happen. So we're going to see an official or 2 or 3 that we haven't seen all year long. And how will they officiate? Because I think there's a great article done, I think it was an Indianapolis Star maybe last week, about trying to officiate Zach Edey and how difficult it is. Well, imagine how difficult it's going to be for a guy or 2 or 3 that hasn't seen him all season. That'll be a thing to keep a close eye on. It's always something to keep an eye on in NCAA tournament play. Just because you're working with officials you don't have a relationship with, you haven't seen them all season. But yes, that is definitely a concern, at least as far as Zach Edey and the way the game is called this, really beginning tomorrow and then for however long Purdue can stay in this thing.
Yeah, I think we've seen him too. No, I certainly noticed that in the Big Ten Conference tournament when there was stuff going to the rim. I mean, oftentimes when it was more than likely a foregone conclusion on a make, Zach just kind of backed away from it. And those are the types of fouls you can't afford. I mean, he got one, and the reason why I remember this is because Gene Cady, CBS put Gene Cady on camera, and that was one of the Gene Cady reactions that were classic right there. That was one, I think, underneath the rim, underneath the backboard near the baseline that he got. That was an incredibly cheap one. Those are the types of fouls that he cannot get. He cannot have it. I think I've noticed him really try to be incredibly smart on what he does and how he handles that defensively.
And you certainly hope from an officiating standpoint that, and I know this sounds funny to say, but because he is a front runner to be the National Player of the Year, maybe he gets a couple of favorable calls. You know, what they call that, the Jordan rules, right? Michael Jordan always seemed to get favorable calls because he was the best player on the planet. So maybe a little bit of that. There's some trickle-down effect at the college level with a guy like Zach. You hope that's the case if you're a Purdue fan. But without question, you are 100% accurate in that he cannot afford cheap fouls. Purdue has to have him on the floor. I mean, that's the easy and obvious statement. He with the numbers he has put up this year, he has to be on the floor for Purdue to have success. And if he's on the bench for extended periods of time, it's going to make it awful tough on Purdue.
Justifiably so. David Jenkins, you understand now why he was brought in by Matt Painter as an older player, as a transfer type of player. Is he going to get more clock, you think, now? Because this is a guy that at least most recently, you could rely on his outside shooting, whereas, with the freshman in Fletcher Lawyer, that's not been there. And I know Matt's going to let him try to work his way in, but how quickly might he go to Jenkins now compared to what he might have back when Lawyer was going good?
Well, I think David's 8 of 12, and I know he was 8 of 12 3-point shooting in the Big Ten tournament. So that's going to get you on the floor pretty quickly as a bench player if you're 8 of 12 in the previous tournament you just played in. Look, I was talking to someone today, and I kind of compared it to when you're out in the garage with your dad, and he's trying to show you how to do something, and you're messing around trying to do whatever it is, and he finally just pushes you out of the way and says, "Let me do this." It's kind of what David has kind of done with our freshmen, especially Fletcher Lawyer. Fletcher's going to be a great player and has been a great player for us this year. He's Big Ten honorable mention. But David, he's the veteran. He's the guy that has been there, done that. This is not his first NCAA tournament. This is not his first conference championship. So he has kind of pushed, if you can imagine, he's kind of pushed Fletcher out of the way and said, okay, time for me to handle this. It's time for the old man to take over. And he has done that. And if his three-point shooting can continue. Now, I think if I'm a Purdue fan, I'm really excited about the prospect of both David and Fletcher shooting the ball well in the NCAA tournament. If that happens, if both those guys get cooking at the same time, Purdue could really be in for something special here over these next couple of weeks.
Hey, Rob Blackman, the voice of the Boilermakers in Columbus, awaiting Farleigh Dickinson and the Boilers coming up tomorrow night around about 6:50 or so. He's with us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Does Matt Painter, does Purdue, do they want Caleb First to shoot the three when he's given that opportunity, or would they rather not see it?
Well, he hadn't been very good in the last month of the season shooting the three, but if you remember last year, he was a 40% three-point shooter.
Right.
So there's that part of you that says he obviously can do it because he has done it. It's not like he's never done it before. He was one of Purdue's better three-point shooters last season. This year he's 27%, and I don't know the last time he made a three-point shot. But I do think that's why he is given some extra rope, if you will, some extra leeway in shooting open shots. As long as they're three, as long as they're open and in rhythm, Matt Painter's okay with that. Because, again, he proved last year he can do it. So it's like there's nothing new for him. It's just a matter of him really. I think if he just sees one go in the basket, his confidence level is going to skyrocket, and he'll be right back to where he was last year. But that's the concern right now, is having him see one go through the basket early in the game. That would be huge for him.
Boilermakers expecting a lot of full court pressure from this team tomorrow, and then as we move forward.
Yes, that's all we worked about. They worked on today, actually, in the practice they had over at Ohio State's practice facility. Was full court pressure, and they also love to trap in the half court. They like to really speed the game up. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to full court pressure, and then when you have the ball in the half court, they're going to try to trap as well. And offensively, they play fast. They're going to shoot the ball within the first 15, 20 seconds of the shot clock. So that's what they do. So they're going to try to speed you up, and Purdue's going to try to slow them down tomorrow. That's what Purdue worked on today. So really going to be a nice little chess match, I think, between the two teams on which team can impose their will as far as what kind of tempo the game is played at tomorrow.
So Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilermakers, with us. What do you think about the draw overall? I know it's kind of old news to you by now, but when it first popped, what were your first thoughts on what you saw that may end up lying ahead for the Boilermakers in this tournament?
The only thing that I was really, I guess, the most interested in was whether or not Purdue was going to be a 1 or a 2. There were some arguments to be made before Sunday that Purdue might have been better off as a 2 seed, but playing in Louisville as your regional site if you would get to the Sweet 16. Or would Purdue be a 1 and be in the East, which is exactly where they are at. So from a potential matchup standpoint, I didn't pay that close of attention to that, actually, John, as I did with Purdue going to be a 1 or a 2. Right. I know this much. When you look at that potential 8-9 game, if Purdue were to get there, man, both Florida Atlantic and Memphis are really, really good. I mean, that's a tough 8-9 matchup. I know Florida Atlantic has your guy Dusty May, who has done a hell of a job with those guys, and Tom Abernathy's son obviously is an assistant on that staff. So there's a lot of IU connections there. But that was the biggest thing for me was, are you going to be a 1 or a 2? And obviously we found out Purdue was a 1 seed. Yeah,
and listen, it's funny from a fan base, and I know you hear it, I know you see it, but it was, hey, great, you win the regular season, great, you win the Big Ten Conference Tournament, but, man, it is so weird to see a fan base still only concerned about where you are right now. You know what I mean? I mean, that's it. It's almost like you're playing these games, and I'm not saying that they were meaningless because they weren't, but to a fan base, now's the time when everything really in this Boilermakers season starts to matter, you know?
Yeah, and Matt Painter said the same thing. I think he said it in the post game after the Penn State game Sunday. I think is the way he talked about it. Maybe the next day, but Purdue is it's good and bad, right? It's a good problem to have that you've had so much success now outside of the NCAA tournament that now you're expected to take that next step, which is it's a pretty good spot to be in. You'd rather have it that way than the other way where you're not having any type of success. So. Purdue's been to 4 of the last 5 Sweet 16s, and that is impressive. There's a whole lot of teams in the nation that would like to be able to say that. But, yes, taking that next step, I understand that's what the fan base is salivating for, and guess what? So am I. So I'd love to see it happen myself. There's no doubt about that.
This has an opportunity to be incredibly special. I mean, it does. I mean, certainly one for the ages right here. With what's already been accomplished, and obviously you're not going to think about that any longer until that happens or until, you have success in this tournament. But, man, what an opportunity they have right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a heck of a ride. I mean, Big Ten champions, Big Ten tournament champions, won that tournament out in Portland in November. If Purdue could win tomorrow, they'd be only the second team ever to win 30 games in a season. I mean, you're crossing off a lot of boxes as far as finding success in a basketball season. So, obviously, what would you like to what other boxes would you like to check? Success in the NCAA tournament, and that is that's what Purdue's going to be gunning for starting tomorrow night.
There's no doubt about that. I don't know. We got some ladies here in the background here, Rob. Do you hear that? I think they're drinking. I think they are drinking alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
How about Bottleworks, Rob, in the garage? My bad. So,
no worries.
Sorry about that. I think what's really going on is they're just trying to hear your incredible insight. I told them I'm talking to Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilermakers right now. So they're trying to show you some respect.
That would be the first time a woman has listened to me in a bar in at least 25 years.
Me as well right there. Hey, have a great time. Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilermakers. You have an IU hat on, though. So you like IU, right? So she has an IU hat on, so she may not end up listening to you, Rob, anyway, one of these days. But I'm right there with you. I know what the hell that's all about, brother. Let me tell you. Hey, I'm really happy for you, seriously, because this has been a fun team to call games for. And I know, having Matt on all the time, nobody better to have on a coach's show or to get insight from, because I'm sure other coaches do that. But, sits you down and talking basketball as he would to you has to be pretty cool because he doesn't mind. And you probably don't get a lot of guys that actually do that. But pretty cool to see where they could end up in this NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I think the most enjoyable part for me, John, has been that this really was an unexpected type of season. I mean, Purdue was nowhere to be found in the top 25 in the preseason polls. Purdue was supposed to be middle of the pack in the Big Ten. And the fact that Purdue's had the type of season they've had that's made it even more fun because you didn't see it coming, which makes it even more enjoyable.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hey, have a great call. I will check in with you, I'm sure, at some point next week. But everybody will be listening, see what happens certainly tomorrow night. And moving forward, Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilermakers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. It's a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy.
Thank you, John. See you, buddy.
You got it. Rob Blackman, voice of the Boilermakers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Sorry about that for Rob. I think the ladies were a little hammered, weren't they? Little bit hammered right there. That's okay, though. That's what happens when you come in the garage. You eat, you drink, you find merriness, and you watch basketball, which we're doing right now. And by the way, I got to get you updated. Hey, Ryan, you want to join me coming up on the other side? Ryan Hickey's going to join us. I'll tell you what, how are things going really quick? Is this mic up right there? Put his mic up really quick because we're going to tease this. This is only day one of the Garage and Bottleworks. Let's tease this really quick. When we return, you want to talk about what else you guys are going to do later on this week, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're day one of the Bottleworks B-Ball Bash. Obviously a little rainy today, but we've got 3 more days ahead, so we're really excited, and we got a lot going on here.
I think I just bring the rain.
You do.
That's just the way that it is.
Hey, if there's ever like a farmer drought or anything, we just need to schedule an event with you, and problems are solved.
I'm just like Orange Juice Jones. I bring the rain. All right, you sit tight?
Yes, sir.
DJ Helicon right there. Ryan Hickey's going to join us coming up on the other side here. Inside the garage, inside or near Bottleworks. We call it Bottleworks. It's the garage. Eat and drink and watch games is what you can do right here. Ryan on the other side. We'll do some calls at 239-1070 to get you updated on the NCAA Tournament games ongoing. Parris Campbell, former Colts wide receiver, signs a free agent deal in New York with the Giants. Mike Chappell, a little bit earlier, talked about that. If you missed the conversation, podcast 1075thefan.com. Our location coming up tomorrow as well is going to be Can't Miss. That and more coming up next before 6 o'clock. Live from the garage, Bottleworks, our location, 93.5, 1075 The Fan.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Looking for family fun or a night out with friends? Royal Pin Entertainment has you covered. Skip the line and make a reservation online at royalpin.com. Looking to host an event or have a small group? Royal Pin is here to help. Contact their sales team to get a deal on parties of 20 or more. Just email events@royalpin.com. With 3 convenient locations around Indianapolis, Royal Pin offers bowling, laser tag, mini golf, and arcades. Awesome family fun. Call your local center at 317-465-8484 or go to royalpin.com to get the ball rolling with Royal Pin.
Set them up, knock them down, send them flying, spinning round.
Call 317-465-8484 or go to royalpin.com today.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin, bowling.
Hey, JMV here, and I get a better night's sleep thanks to a couple of former Hoosiers. It's Dr. Steve Green and Brian Evans. Once upon a time, heard me talking about my sleep, my bed rest getting hijacked because I snore. It was problematic across the board, like a freight train, and it bothered everybody. What happened? They set me up with a simple, a comfortable, and affordable mouthpiece. I wear it at night, and my snoring has disappeared. So, if you or somebody you know struggles with snoring, let's do something about that today. Get that private consultation at stopyoursnorenow.com and get the ball rolling on a great night's sleep. Don't have your bed rest hijacked. Get a great night's sleep from Aurora Sleep Clinic. StopYourSnoreNow.com. Get that private consultation today. StopYourSnoreNow.com.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, the fun extends beyond the beach. Because here, the arts are alive, the food is al fresco, and the nightlife is electric. So let's forget the cold and find our place in the sun. Let's explore captivating collections at the Salvador Dali Museum and bask in bay views from the St. Pete Pier. Let's fill up on fresh caught cuisine and catch up over cold craft beer on rooftop patios. Day or night, let's shine. Plan your escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Hey, everybody, we've all heard stories from friends and family about something really bad that happened. You're in an accident, there's a painful, life-altering injury, huge medical bills, maybe even wrongful death, and all from someone else's fault. In fact, and unfortunately, some of you may be dealing with that right now. And that's where the attorneys at Parris Law Firm can help. Tony Patterson, Paul Cruz, and John McLaughlin lead a team with over 70 years of collective courtroom experience and millions of dollars in jury awards and settlements for their clients. Now, none of us can change the past. Just know that Tony, Paul, and John are on your side to help you and your family going forward. They're recognized by Super Lawyers and U.S. News and World Report as being among the leading injury lawyers in Indiana. So even if you're unsure you have a case, give Parris a call. They'll listen and give you their free experience legal opinion. Call 317-269-2509 or visit parinjury.com. That's P-A-R-R injury.com.
Indy's number one for new country.
I got some famous friends.
Nobody plays more new country. 97.1 Hank FM.
Save some green at Big Red Liquors and save time and money when you shop at a local Big Red. Since Big Red buys the deepest deals in the state, they're able to pass on the savings to you. Become a VIP and unlock hundreds of deals across the store to save even more green on the brands you love.
Hey there, it's JMV. If you have clogged drains, listen up. There are some clogs a plunger simply cannot fix. That's when you need a professional, and I highly recommend the team at LD Smith Plumbing to handle any water problem in your home, especially clogged drains. They have the know-how and the latest equipment to find the clog and remove it. They're truly water's boss. In the frustration of clogged drains, visit ldsmithplumbing.com today and request an appointment. That's ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Shop the Customer Appreciation Sale at Grand Appliance for the lowest prices and extra savings you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at grandappliance.com. Grand Appliance, experts since 1930.
JMV for Sundown Gardens, and spring is just around the corner at Sundown Gardens in Westfield. Sundown Gardens is your spring headquarters on the north side for trees, shrubs, annuals, perennials, mulch, pottery, and more. And right now, Sundown Gardens has 25% off all houseplants and houseplant accessories. Sundown Gardens has a second location coming later this spring. Coming soon is Miss M's Home and Garden by Sundown Gardens in Bargersville on State Road 135. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundowngardens.com.
It's Kevin and Query.
Everybody's Final Four around the horn. I'll lead us off. Arizona, Purdue, Houston, and UConn. I have got Wildcats of Arizona beating the Huskies of UConn in the national title.
Alabama, Marquette, Texas, and Gonzaga. And it is Roll Tide over Hook'em Horns in what looks to be a college football national championship game. Alabama wins it all.
Alabama, Duke, Texas, Gonzaga. Alabama beating Gonzaga in the national title.
Kevin and Query.
Weekday mornings at 7
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
We have the holy hand grenade. Yes, of course. The holy hand grenade of Antioch. Right. 1, 2, 5. Lisa, 3.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We are inside the garage at Bottleworks today. The real day number one of the NCAA Tournament had a big surprise earlier. I think it was a surprise a lot of people picked. Furman over Virginia. We'll get you updated on some of the games ongoing right now. Under 2 to go with San Diego State, a 5-point lead in the 5-12 game over Charleston. Second half, they just started. Actually, Arizona, the 2 seed, had a 1-point lead, 31-30 at the half. Up by 5 right now with 17.5 to go in the second half. 2-seeded Arizona and the 15-seed Princeton. We'll get you updated on everything else, but we'll rejoin now Ryan Hickey, DJ Helicon. And by the way, too, I feel really bad because I got to get you on the screen here. Brian Noe, who's doing the midday show and will be here, there you go, is coming up tomorrow. I wanted to bring Brian in because he was here, and he's going to be here coming up tomorrow at noon. So, Ron, we'll start with you. Yeah. You expect kind of the same thing, eat, drink, watching games tomorrow as a part of your basketball bash.
Yeah, absolutely. That pretty much sums it up, obviously.
Cool. Well, go ahead, Chad. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here. Next time, it's got to be dry, though. We're like 0 for 3.
Every time I come out here, man, it just pisses and pours every time I come out.
You bring the rain, man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're really excited about the event. This is the third year we've done it. TVs everywhere, big screens outside on the street, games showing all day long, 12 to 9. Obviously, plenty to eat and drink, lots of great food here. Obviously there's a big college basketball culture here, so we try to celebrate that, and we just love hosting it.
That's DJ Helicon who runs things. Brian Knows across from me. You can see him via YouTube Live right now as well. So you and Jimmy Cook, doing the show together today. You and Jimmy Cook are going to be here tomorrow. First remote? Congratulations.
First remote. I can't promise Jimmy Cook is going to bring his A game. I don't know what he's going to do. No, Jimmy Cook. No,
he'll be great.
He's a pro. He's a pro, so we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow.
He'll be great.
Sure.
So surprises so far today. I mentioned there was one major one, but still, because a lot of people were picking those upsets, I think a lot of people went with Virginia getting bounced in that first game.
No, it's funny. Jimmy Cook was doing a live read.
Oh, was he?
When Furman was stealing the ball and hitting the go-ahead
Did he get a sports arousal live on the air?
No,
that live
he
read?
was a pro. He was locked in. He's doing his IHSAA read. I was going around. I was like moshing with myself as Furman hit the three.
Was that one of your picks?
It was one of my picks. Yeah, it was. So maybe that's why I was so excited. But, yeah, he finished it off like a pro. He was tremendous. Seamless.
Yeah. Anything stand out? First afternoon of this tournament?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one out of all of them right now. And, this Arizona game, I don't know what your championship game is. I have Arizona going all
and Gonzaga.
the way.
I have Arizona and Gonzaga.
I don't feel great about anybody.
No,
but I went
can't.
Process of elimination. I went Arizona.
I have crapped on Gonzaga all year because I followed Gonzaga for a long time, and this is probably out of the past 5 years their worst team, honestly.
Yeah.
With the lack of veteran guards, but Drew Timmy's been there for about half a dozen years already. But it just kind of seems like in the landscape of college basketball, the way that it is, Brian, right now, is that this is anybody's game. Everybody has considerable warts, and if there was going to be a season where they finally break through, and I have Tommy Lloyd, who's a longtime assistant to Mark Few in Arizona, going against Gonzaga, and Mark Few, and I just happen to think maybe this is where Gonzaga breaks through because, again, of how everything looks.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I have them in the title game.
Yeah.
I don't love it because it's becoming a little bit of a trendy pick right now.
It is.
But it's interesting.
Too. I agree with that, yeah.
It could be other sports as well, like think about the Steelers when they went and they beat Seattle. That was one of their lesser teams. I hate to even bring it up because remember the fumble from Jerome Bettis and the Nick Harper play here.
Well, that was a fun time here.
Yeah, but that wasn't one of their best teams.
Nick Harper got stabbed with a fork by his girlfriend the night before.
Who could forget that?
Hey, Nick. You can imagine what happened if his girlfriend would not have stabbed him in the shin or the leg area with a fork. Things could have been completely different.
Way different.
Super Bowl year?
Or if he cut to the outside.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Well, he would have if he didn't get stabbed the night before.
That was the only play that Roethlisberger had was just, kind of tipping over with his arms.
I'm going to run backwards, and hopefully you just run into me. That's what his play was.
See, now you're bringing up the bad times around here. Brian, you got to bring up the good times.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. Tomorrow, good times.
What if he'd been stabbed with a spork? Do you think that would have turned out?
No, anything like that. Yeah, I mean, a spork or,
Just something.
Yeah.
What if Nick would have not have, on the side there? But that was a bad. I remember that coming down in the RCA Dome because we all thought coming from the press box the game was over, and we got halfway down the stairwell and everybody started going nuts. So we all stopped to kind of watch, and then Vanderjagt got out there and went like the widest right in the history of wide right.
I know it. And everybody said the same thing.
It's like,
he missed it.
Looked like a Fernando Valenzuela screwball. Left a trail.
Yeah.
So,
I'm upset it's not going to be an Edwin Diaz screwball this year. Did you see that? Him getting hurt with the knee injury? That's unbelievable, man. I hate that.
I just want to hear that song all the time.
I know it, right?
Timmy Trumpet? You play that when you DJ Timmy Trumpet?
I haven't lately, but I should.
You should.
I should.
All right, so tell everybody, besides Brian and Jimmy coming up at noon tomorrow, what else is going on around here?
Yeah, obviously looking forward to having Brian and Jimmy here tomorrow, doing the live remote.
Now, will they be outside?
I sure hope so. It depends. What's your temperature tolerance?
Hey, man, I'm a gamer.
Okay, good.
I'm a gamer.
What's the temperature tomorrow supposed to be?
I think mid-40s, and the rain's going to be gone, so that's a good sign. Again, day one got off to a little bit of a wet start, which we don't love here, but hey, everyone's inside the garage food hall, so the good thing is we have places where people can go inside if they need to. We've got the food hall, we've got Pins Mechanical here. We do have a kind of a VIP lounge that Coca-Cola is hosting on the other side of the street here that has 6 TVs in there, showing all the games all day long. like I said, eating, drinking, being merry. We love to have a good time here, and we love to host it.
It's Ryan, DJ Helicon. Brian No is part of the midday show with Jimmy Cook that will be here coming up tomorrow as well. What are you guys thinking about the rest of today going into tomorrow? Obviously, you guys are going to be the lead.
I know
for IU and
yeah.
check that. Purdue, Farleigh Dickinson, IU, and Kent State. That'll be a good day in here tomorrow.
Yeah, a little tailgate pregame party for
not?
IU, Purdue. I love the Farleigh Dickinson coach.
I don't think he really meant to do that.
I don't know.
Kind of screwed
the
that
more
up.
I watch them, the more I think they're beatable.
You know, I miss it was because he tried to save his own ass with that. Stay humble. Because I just completely messed up right here on camera. I should not have said that. Holy crap! It's like you go so far and you just go ahead and do it.
But hey, guys,
it's
do as I say, not as I do. You know,
it's like war games. You know what? I think that those are Phantom missiles coming in, but hell, we got to fire ours anyway because it might be real. What the hell? We'll just go ahead and do it.
Here's the thing, though. The interesting thing about IU and Purdue both playing tomorrow is we've seen them all, especially the second half of this season. If they don't shoot well and if they don't get good guard play, it is a struggle for both of those teams, no matter who they're playing.
Yep.
Hey, Brian, I was talking to Rob Blackman, the voice of the Boilermakers, just now, and this is something I had a conversation with Matt Painter with early in the week. The concern is, and it's not like you're ready to gripe about the officiating, but you're going to get, different guys, different crews that haven't officiated as a crew. Zach Edey.
Yeah.
That's a tightrope walk right there.
Right. Like, how is he officiated?
Yeah.
How much can he get away with?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a different deal for him especially. Mm-hmm. But you're right, man. We're talking about outside shooting.
Yeah.
This should be for Purdue. This is kind of their free throw game, I think, for any great scorer.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller used to say this. You get to the free throw line, you get your rhythm. Hopefully they shoot well from the outside. And maybe that can inspire some confidence, get some chemistry going along, get some momentum for the next game. They got to be better shooting the ball, man.
You got to have Fletcher Lawyer get right. That would be ideal against Farleigh Dickinson, a team that you should beat the hell out of.
Right.
You need to see Fletcher Lawyer get right because he hasn't been for a long
right.
time, and that's detrimental for them. Now, again, David Jenkins has been very good.
Yes.
I mean, David Jenkins has shot the ball well, but you want Lawyer to be, the type of honorable mention All Big Ten guy that he has been, and recently he just hasn't.
Yeah, different feel for IU, but same concept, right? You get by Kent State, you might be facing Miami in the next round, potentially. Miami can score. So IU, they're going to need their outside shooting as well. And that wasn't pretty the last game, 2 for 14. It's got to be way better for them, too.
Both of these All-Americans have been islands a couple of different times. Now, thing of it is, they both won while being offensive islands, but they both have lost and looked bad a couple of times in the process, too. You just can't have that. I would factor in more Purdue being able to lean on what they have to back up Zach Edey than I would counting on IU, because it has been so few and far between. Hopefully they find a little bit of a rhythm. And Brian, you know this. Ryan, you know this too. In this tournament, you don't have to be a great shooting team. You just have to have moments of great shooting.
Yeah.
And maybe that can be a difference because they both need it.
Yeah. I had a Trey Galloway prop bet.
Oh, did you?
Needed 1 3-pointer. It didn't work out.
No.
And he actually had the last shot of the game in garbage time. I'm like, just make it.
You needed the Tamar Bates having 2. I think there were 2 of them.
He's the only guy who had a shot.
It was brutal.
Yeah,
absolutely
that was rough
right there. What you guys got on the show tomorrow?
I have no idea.
Cool.
Lots of tournament talk, winging it.
Then you fit right in here.
Maybe outdoors. I was talking trash.
We're going to be outside tomorrow.
We're going to be. I like it. I was talking trash. It was Jags-Jets toward the end of the regular season, and the Amazon Prime crew went indoors afterward for the post-game show. And I'm like, you guys are weak. What's going on? So if you say we're outside, we're going outside tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about outside tomorrow. Feeling good about the rest of the weekend. Here's another interesting thing about the tournament and about local fan interest in our event here. assuming IU and Purdue both win tomorrow, that means they're both playing on Sunday, which certainly makes for an interesting Sunday fun day environment down here at the B-Ball Bash.
There you go.
By the way, Ryan, tell everybody you've got something for everybody in here, don't you?
Absolutely.
Really
all kinds of food. I mean, it's everything from Brazilian food, pizza, wings, burgers. Obviously, JMV's a big fan of Clancy's. We got jacked up on Cuban coffee earlier.
I did.
You know, I mean,
it's like cocaine.
Yeah,
I thought I sniffed a line of cocaine, but it was just coffee.
A little bit of sweetness in there. You know, we got, I'm sitting here drinking a beer from our tap room down here, Axel's. I mean, it's just a little bit of something for everybody. Obviously, we got our beer bars outside, 2 large LED screens facing each other, you know, so you can stand out on the street and watch the games in either direction. You go into the Coca-Cola lounge. I mean, there's just fun all around here, and we go all day and into the evening.
By the way, I got a random fun fact for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
So I dated a Brazilian girl years ago.
Oh, I'm listening.
All right, and so
you caught my attention.
We had a New Year's Eve party.
Yeah.
We go over to a friend's house, and I thought it was interesting. One of the customs, they said they only eat animals that go forward because you want to go forward in the new year. So we ate fish. Fish only go forward.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I didn't know that, but it's part of like Brazilian culture.
So have we seen a lot of cows moonwalking? A lot of cows go back. When's the last time you saw a cow?
That's a good question. Who are the animals that have the reverse thing going on, you know?
I don't see a lot of cows. So is that... You're just making that up.
I'm not making it up. That's what we did.
Well,
maybe she was making it up.
Maybe she was, but it seemed to be legit.
So you guys
it sounded good at the
nothing wrong
time.
with going to the fish, don't get me wrong, but I'm just thinking, wait a minute. I've not seen a lot of cows throw that thing in reverse ever. You guys?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Can't say that I
Is she still around? You got pictures?
As a friend.
Ah,
yeah.
You got pics? Ryan wants pics. All right, noon until 3 tomorrow for you guys.
That's
coming
right.
up right here tomorrow, and you're cool with setting everybody outside, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be back up and running. Event starts at noon tomorrow. Food hall opens a couple hours before that. Looking forward to a little bit drier weather tomorrow. Don't know that it's going to be super warm, but it's going to be good enough. And as long as everybody bundles up, ready to hang out outside. We got the beer flowing. We got the food. We got food outside, too. We got burgers and dogs and brats out there. Games on everywhere. There's really nowhere in either of these areas in the food hall or out here on the street where you can't see a game and you can't get food and drinks.
How late are you guys open?
We are open till 9 o'clock outside on the street. And then tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, we're open till 10 p.m. inside here in the food hall.
Wow. Incredible.
Yep.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having Brian and Jimmy tomorrow, too. That's going to be a
absolutely.
party.
Looking forward to it.
Noon until 3. Great to see you, man.
Good seeing
Thanks
you,
for
too,
coming out.
JMV.
You like coming down here?
I do. I love it. We could get hashtag layer up trending tomorrow, you know?
There you go.
Layer up, baby. Have some fun. March Madness.
Purdue fans are going to be saying lawyer up.
There you go. That works, too.
I'm going to have to, I don't know what I'm by the way, at O'Reilly's tomorrow.
Oh,
so, yeah. So I got to get a ride home for that.
You get a ride over here, you know?
Yeah, man, well, you got a place for me to sleep.
Well, I know your kids love staying here. So.
They do love it. What? Yeah, of course you got a place for me to sleep.
Yeah, absolutely we do.
Right over there at Bottleworks. All right, fellas, appreciate it.
For sure.
Ryan Ryan Hickey, that's DJ Helicon.
Thanks,
right
brother.
there.
Great to see you as
Good friend
always.
of the show. Thank you for having us out. Quick break and we shall return. Yacht Rock Review is coming to the TCU Amphitheater August the 12th. I've got a pair of tickets for you. When you hear a Yacht Rock re-entry, and the hint is that is going to come up next. I'll let you identify it. Somebody's going to win. August the 12th, TCU Amphitheater. Thank you, Live Nation, for that. Your chance to win is coming up. And again, our location reminder where we're going to be with this show coming up tomorrow. Cam's the on-site engineer. James back at the studio. Rob Blackman, Jeff Rabjohns, Mike Chappell, Mike Wells. So far, podcast 1075thefan.com. Inside the Garage, Bottleworks, back with you. Final time and your chance to win next.
Need new tires? Skip the long appointments and bad coffee. With Go Mobile Tires Indy, order tires online and have them installed at your home or office. GoMobileIndy.com. We come to you.
Celebrate St. Paddy's Day all week at Twin Peaks with Irish Whiskey, Guinness Beer, and Scenic Views. From March 11th through 17th, they'll be featuring a lingerie costume party and drink specials on some of their favorite festive shots, cocktails, and more. Feeling lucky? Wear some green into the lodge on St. Patrick's Day and your Twin Peaks girl will bring you a free order of fried pickles. It's St. Paddy's Day and Twin Peaks knows how you like to party. Valid at participating locations only. Get with your favorite lodge for more details.
Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's JMV for CarX Tire and Auto and March Saving Madness. Tires, brakes, brake pads, oil changes, and more. March Saving Madness. CarX.com today.
The winter blues are almost behind us, and we can't wait to get out of the house and be more active. That sounds great, but your achy joints don't agree. Well, time to do something about it. It's Kevin Bowen. You could stop with the steroids, stop with the possible surgery chatter. Now there's a better way to get lasting relief, and it's from QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. This exciting approach uses healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, and then placed directly into your achy joint. It can restore and repair that damaged tissue and get you moving again without pain, knee pain, back pain, shoulder, hip pain. This patient satisfaction reports are incredible, and there's no downtime. You can learn more about this wildly popular, all-natural, alternative way to get lasting pain relief with no surgery and no drugs via QC Kinetics. The call is free. The consultation is free. 317-559-PAIN. Locations at Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. A free consultation. You got nothing to lose, and the timing is right for you to enjoy the best time of the year. QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN.
Can you handle the truth about your problem gambling? Is your truth missing work or important events in your life due to gambling? Do you brag about your gambling wins but hide your losses to the people you care about the most? Is gambling a way to escape pressures from home or work? If problem gambling is your truth, text INGAMB to 53342. Again, text INGAMB to 53342. Or face problem gambling by calling 800-9-WITH-IT. That's 800-994-8448.
Helzberg Diamonds presents The Guy Who Did His Homework. When it came to Jill's engagement ring, Brady knew exactly what to get.
Okay, so I came up with a design and showed it to all of our friends.
She'll love it.
Then he went to Helzberg. Their incredible selection of high-quality, lab-grown, and natural diamonds made creating that special ring easy. Her reaction?
I love it. Can't wait to tell everybody.
Everybody might know about it.
Be like Brady. Create the ring of your dreams at a Helzberg near you or at Helzberg.com. Ask now about special financing offers.
Hey, Indy. Tim Piersont here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey. Did you know March Madness and Chattanooga Whiskey have a lot in common? For example, we selected our flagship bourbon recipe through bracketology. That's right. After years of distilling and barreling hundreds of experimental recipes, barrel number 91 emerged as our champion. We now call it Chattanooga Whiskey 91, an award-winning small batch bourbon. Featuring notes like toasted honey and graham cracker, we think you'll enjoy it as much as we do. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent America's Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Owner Danny Reinhardt's daughter, Kim, says her dad has a daily influence on the way customers are treated.
Dad's built a great business, and it's an honor to be able to keep carrying it on, and his work ethic and the way he treats customers, and that's something that I want to carry on and treat people the same way.
You can call on Reinhardt Heating and Cooling at 317-745-4526. Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Like gold. Dirks Bentley, Gravel and Gold Tour. They all know why I'm getting drunk on the plane. Live at Ruoff Music Center, July 9th, with Jordan Davis. And that's what my world spins around. And Tyler Braden. Dirks Bentley. Yeah, I'm somewhere I wanna be. On sale this Friday, 10 a.m. at LiveNation.com. Yeah, it feels like part of the Coors Light Concert Series.
The Pacers head to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks tonight at 7:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
It takes him a second to get on the stool because he's under 5 feet tall.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Yacht Rock Review is coming to the TCU Amphitheater, one of the staples. A foundational piece of the genre yacht rock would be the late, great Jerry Rafferty. This is Baker Street. Number 9 at 239-1070. We'll get a pair of tickets for that August the 12th date on us. Thank you very much. Live at the garage. We're next to Bottleworks here, celebrating day number 1 of the NCAA Tournament. Hey, by the way, too, somewhat breaking news here in the past 5 minutes as we were in break. Tom Pelissero reports the Colts have come to terms with quarterback Gardner Minshew. The expectation is it's a 1-year deal worth $3.5 million. So Gardner Minshew, and the expectation is that he will be that veteran presence either as a veteran backup or as the drafted quarterback, as a rookie will be, maybe a veteran starter until that rookie is ready. Whatever the case, Gardner Minshew, which has been long time rumored as being the case, and Zach Kiefer had a tweet about that a little bit earlier today, by the way, has been signed, has agreed to terms with the Colts. 1 year, $3.5 million for Gardner Minshew right there. So there you go. We'll discuss that at length again, I'm sure, coming up tomorrow. I also wanted to give a shout out. Our friend Matt is here, and if you remember, Matt's son Colton had a surgical procedure at Riley going back a couple of months, and Matt was kind enough to bring Colton out here, and Colton looks spectacular. It is great to see Colton. I know a lot of you remember that at the end of the football season because Matt comes out to a lot of our events, both Thursdays and Fridays and Mondays, and was telling us about the medical situation of Colton. And Colton is strong, looking fantastic, and throwing his hat in the floor over there. So it is great to see, as always, Matt. It is great to see Colton. Fantastic to see Emax, who's out at this event too. J-Law's out at this event. We've got BT Dew still around here someplace. I know Paul was out here a little bit earlier too. We're getting there he is. BT's over there sitting down. It's great to see the gang back together. And speaking of the gang, tomorrow we celebrate St. Patrick's Day at O'Reilly's. O'Reilly's downtown. Brent Halverson, our betting analyst, will be there. We'll go over some bets, do our normal Friday thing, but this is going to be great as we celebrate St. Patrick's Day at O'Reilly's tomorrow. That is a staple of the show with Heaven Hill Distillery, and I can tell you this. I can tell you that the samples will be flowing coming up tomorrow. You will not want to miss that. Let's just say, for example, you're thinking about going out and celebrating St. Patrick's Day, but you don't know where to go. Or maybe you're skeptical about going downtown or getting downtown, whatever. No, seriously, this is where you need to be with us because this is an annual celebration of St. Patrick's Day with Brent Halverson, who is, I think, on his way back right now from Puerto Rico. He will join us tomorrow. We'll also have the last word with Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts, and the Gorman, and they'll be doing that live coming up after this show at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm going to hang out with them from 6 until 6:30 coming up tomorrow as well. Otherwise, voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, will be on the show coming up tomorrow. Mike Wells either rejoins or will join us live coming up tomorrow as well, and we're not going to forget anything about the semi-state action that's coming up this weekend, too. It is going to be a super Saturday around the state of Indiana. Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk, brought to you by your 14 Central Indiana Joe Childers run CarX locations. CarX.com for that location nearest you today. Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk to talk about all those locations from Washington to Seymour, Newcastle, Southport. Incredible games coming up on Saturday, and we will talk about that with Bob Lovell on tomorrow's show. Again, live from O'Reilly's. We're going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and it shall be an absolute blast. All right, quick update for you, too. Games in the books from earlier today. Maryland outlast West Virginia, 8-9 game. 67-65 was that final. The 7-seed Missouri over the 10-seed Utah State, 76-65. The big upset of the day, it came down to a turnover and then a made three with 2.5 seconds remaining. Furman, the 13-seed, oust the 4-seed Virginia. That final 68-67. The 1-seed without Bill Self coaching on the bench. No problem for Kansas over the 16-seed Howard, 96-68. This game just gone final. The 5-seed San Diego State from the Mountain West Conference, 63-57 over the 12-seed Charleston. The 1-seed Alabama, 96-75 over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And games that are ongoing right now, I'll give you a couple of updates for you, too. Both second-half scores. Arizona, a little bit of distance as a 2-seed right now over the 15-seed Princeton, 51-43. That was a 1-point advantage for the 2-seeded Wildcats at the half. And under 16 to go in the second half. Looks to be like Illinois is making a bit of a run, down 8 right now. 8-9 game, Arkansas 41-33 over the Fighting Illini. I want to thank everybody here for coming out. Thank you to Ryan Hickey for having us. Cam, great job engineering. James, fantastic back in the studio. Mike Wells, ESPN Radio, great as always. Thank you all for listening inside the lounge via YouTube Live. It is going to be a hellacious show tomorrow, live at O'Reilly's, beginning at 3. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Have a great night.
The state has no wallflowers in this year's dance.
It's the big dance.
Purdue.
Zach Edey for Purdue.